That's a bit better. Oh, 4 people already in. Okay. Testing. So, looks like Les had something else come up. Yeah, I did. I had to move the camera up a little bit. So, sound okay? Everybody can hear okay? Hope so. So, can hear you. Very good. Looks like Les is yeah. Can hear you, which is good. Okie dokie. So, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. From Les, Retired and Living the Dream. Always a little bit early because I just like to make sure everything's working before we get started. Always start with a coffee. Okay, so we've got many things to talk about today, some interesting things, and everything's interesting. I think everything I'm going to talk about, but we're going to talk about a bit about insurance. We're going to talk about the draw that I did. Remember, I offered a prize to those people who did a comment on one of my videos with regard to a free stay 2-night holiday at the resort near me. Well, I did the draw this morning, and the video's got to come, but I'm going to announce the winner after 3 o'clock once we get everything started. Talk a little bit about insurance, visas, all sorts of things. But this is the chance that you've got to ask any questions about anything and everything about living in Thailand. And like on the thumbnail that I put before, I am going back to England in July. Sadly, my sister's not feeling too well, so I'm going back because of family reasons. Otherwise, I wouldn't be going back at all. Maybe just going there for 2 months for anybody that wants a chat, face-to-face chat or whatever. You're more than welcome to come and visit me in Redcar, and we'll have a beer, coffee, a meal, wherever you want. But I'm going to do quite a few vlogs as well when I'm back in England, because the last time I was in England, it was winter time, so nobody likes going out when it's freezing cold. Whereas this time I can go out, and because it's summer, July and August, hopefully 2 of the best months of the year. So let's see who else we got here. Greetings, Les. 4 a.m. my time. Wow, that's early. Thanks very much for joining us at 4 a.m. in the morning. Wow. Can't sleep. Just had a full English breakfast and ground coffee. Well, I've got the ground coffee. Full English breakfast. I'll wait until I get back to England for one of them. Might have warmed up a bit by July. Hope, fingers crossed. Hi, Les. It's hot and humid. Exercise outdoor. I'm sat outside. I hate exercise. I've always hated exercise, and I'm not going to start it. A few people have mentioned I've lost a little bit of weight, and which I have. In 4 weeks, I've managed to lose 9 kilos in 4 weeks doing the keto diet. Again, more about that a little bit later on. It's all about exercising to lose weight. Okay, exercising helps the body, and everybody's told me that, but I've never liked exercise, so I've never really done it. I can lose weight by doing the keto diet, and because I've done it a few things. My whole of my life, I've always yo-yoed with weight. So I find the keto diet is the easiest diet for me because I know it works. And once you get into it, it's easy because you don't feel hungry. Yeah, the keto diet is treating you well. Yeah, as I said, 9 kilos in 4 weeks. Brilliant. Down to 2 years and 6 months on the retirement countdown clock, Les. Well done, Mr. Who. It'll get 2 years. It'll fly by like that, especially if you do your research and where you want to go, what you want to do. And the biggest thing, save like Billio for them 2 years, because in the first six months to a year, you'll just spend. And, you know, you can spend a lot of money in your early because it's still a bit like holiday experience. So we still got 5 minutes to go before I'm due to start. So planning for Christmas 2026. Oh, Christmas here is a wonderful time. Christmas and New Year, it is magical. But I've got to say, I do miss the buzz for Christmas and New Year that England has. And again, when I was there a couple of years or so, well, a year and a half ago, the Christmas buzz around the town was good because I was out at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Christmas Eve, and there's a whole buzz about it, which you don't get in Thailand, sadly. But if you go into Bangkok and Pattaya, you get the Christmassy feeling because all the girls are dressed up in Father Christmas outfits or Miss Christmas outfits. There's always Christmas decorations in all the stores and things like that, which is good. So the Thais have clicked on there. It's very commercial. And they make quite a bit of money from it, I think. So anyway, that's Christmas. We're still 6 months away from Christmas. But this Christmas and New Year, we're off to really north of Thailand, a place called Ban Rak Thai. And it's got an influence with China. And we're staying there in the tea farms for a week or so. Then we're going to Pai, and then we're going to Chiang Mai for New Year. So we're almost away for 3 weeks in the whole of December. So I'm looking forward to that. That's something to look forward to when I come back from England. So I mean, planning on England a couple of months or something like that. Bill Simpson, hello Les, you're looking well, mate. Thanks very much, Bill. I feel well. I feel really, really good. And as I say, 9 kilos, that's over a stone. So when you're not carrying a stone, it's good, isn't it? I mean, 118 kilos I was at my heaviest, and I'm down to just 100 now. So I'm planning on getting down to 95 before I go back to the UK, because my sister's going to feed me up with custard slices, parmos, everything that I shouldn't be eating, really. But she thinks I do miss all that lot. I've got a sweet tooth, and she just goes mad when I go home and see her. Ah, 2:59, almost 3 o'clock. So we're 29 people in already. Thanks very much, 29 people. 29 people, 2 thumbs up. Mr. How do you manage in the Philippines with the food? Good morning, Les from England. Good morning, Knock. Need to schedule another call with you, Les. Last one I had so many questions that I was a bit scatterbrained trying to decide between Thailand, Philippines, and Chiang Mai and favorite towns. Yeah, again, that's the really good thing when you have a face-to-face chat, because then you can ask all the questions. But sometimes you can go on a tangent and you can just, I can talk for hours, as you know. I mean, the last time was 3.5 hours, and 3 hours 45 minutes is the longest live stream that I've done. So if people have got the questions, then I don't mind answering the questions that people have. I'm a mind of information. I've got loads and loads of interesting things and ways to save money. Pardon me, get around the visa system. Everything is legal that I suggest to everybody. And again, there's some good news with the visa announcement, although there is a bit of a caveat to that. How crazy is the Thai government announce all of these things with the visas, but maybe it's not ready yet. Fancy announcing the whole of a system without, dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's. And I've been told by a few people that they've come into this country and they've still only got 30 days. And then Tim Newton, who does TNT, he says he knows a few people who've got 60 days. So it seems to be a little bit of a hit and miss still. But it's good news on the at the end of the day. It looks like they are going to extend it to 60 days. Let's hope you can do 60 days and then extend it for 60 days. That will make a wonderful thing. Then the long stay visa for digital nomads and things like that, 180 days, but that comes at a hefty price at 10,000 baht. But if you're earning some money over here, 10,000 baht for 180 days. Now, there was some arguments over whether it was going to be for 180 days, 100 for up to 5 years. So anyway, the detail is in when they actually put it down in the Gazette, Thai Gazette, and then it becomes legal. So fingers crossed that everything's good. The only downside to all of this, like, they still haven't sorted the tax out yet. I've had 2 tax advisors tell me, one said I'll pay tax and the other one said I won't. And they're tax advisors. So my advice to those people with regard to tax, wait until it happens, wait until it's written down in stone, and then everybody will know. So I could finish a live stream now, couldn't I? All them things all mentioned. How do you go on buying meat in Thailand, Les? We get our meat from macro. For me, macro seems to be the best, because the meat is cold and there's no flies. Where if you get it on the market, they have them whizzing machines to stop the flies, but you still get flies on meat. And I know it's going to be cooked and washed and that, but macro seems to me, because they have a high turnover of meat products and all the products, that they have a good turnover. Tesco, Lotus, not so much, because we have a macro literally 100 meters away from Tesco. We always go to macro to get the meat. Yeah, I don't fancy the meat off the market. Vegetables off the market are far cheaper than macro and Lotus. So yeah, swings and roundabouts. Just go to the shop and you can live very, very cheaply over here. Yeah, the digital nomad visa is confusing. Some saying 180 days for it's still all confusing, isn't it? It was sort of big news when it came out, and everybody was like, yeah. And then the devil in the detail the day after. Well, it might not be. It's going to be operating from June the 1st, and no, it isn't. So, you know, they've been saying this thing about here we are in June, and they're still talking about the tax. And even the tax experts don't know it. 2 tax experts have told me, yes, you're going to pay tax. And the second one, no, you won't be paying tax. I'd sooner believe the one who says you don't pay tax. But they were going to handle my tax affairs, and they were going to get me a tax number, and they were going to submit my tax affairs, even though they don't know what it's all about yet, and charge me 7,500 baht for doing that. Crazy. And you know, and they don't even know what's going to happen yet. So they said, we'll do all this lot for you, but it's going to cost you 7,500, because I'm a relatively simple case, because all I've got is me pension coming from the UK. 7,500. Woo-wee, that's a lot of money. Anyway, that'll all come out in the details later on. And so yeah, for me, wait until it happens. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I've had a couple of people email me in the last couple of videos, what you're going to do when they start taxing you. Well, I'll do like what everybody else does. It's suck it up and pay it. Because let's face it, even if I have to pay tax here, it's still going to be cheaper than living back in the UK, it's going to be interesting, because I'm going to do boots on the ground in the UK, and I'm going to do various videos if I had to go back to the UK, because some people don't like Thailand, believe it or not, and they want to go back to the home countries. Well, I'm going to do a couple of videos about if I had to go back to the UK, how much is it going to cost me? How much will I get? What can I live on? I'll do an in-depth, and I'll go around a couple of houses, and I'll do comparisons of the lifestyle that I live here and how much this would cost me for the same lifestyle in the UK. Hopefully it'll be good and interesting. I'm there for a couple of months, so let's see how it goes. And like I say, if anybody wants any meetups, we can meet up in the UK, Redcar, Wetherspoons. Wetherspoons is my favourite location in Redcar. The food is cheap, and the alcohol or the beer is cheap, and that's where I'll be. Most weeks I'll be in there 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah, really hope that they don't tax foreign income. That'll be a big factor for a lot. I think if they tax the retirees, they'll shoot themselves in the foot. They will, because then one, it's going to put people off coming here, and especially if you're going to get taxed on the money that you're going to spend. The money they would lose by people not staying here for a year, it'd be more than they'd get for tax. I did a little bit of maths, and the figures don't add up. They'll make more money not taxing foreigners than if they tax foreigners. If you take my example of 60,000 baht a month I spend. So if I left this country for 6 months of the year, 360,000 baht, they wouldn't get any of my 360,000 baht. Now, they ain't going to get any of that. They'll get nowhere near that in tax. So it's just a no-brainer. It's just so stupid. I hope that the people give these guys a shake and say, listen, how much money are we going to throw away by doing this? And if they do it, I think it'll be done for a year or two, and then they'd scrap it anyway. But it's the damage they'll do to this country in that meantime. I can understand them tax the wealthy. It's them people that they're after. It's not the just to say living expats here on the retirement, things like that. But again, it's a big issue. I could talk about that all day, but I don't want to talk about that all day. Have I got a plan B for this? No. Even at the worst case scenario, I could easily spend the extra £100 a month that I would have to pay tax. That's what they reckon I'd have to pay, £100 a month extra to live here. That's the council tax. Well, less than the council tax in England, isn't it? So I don't pay any council tax either. There's no TV licenses here. My water bill's less than 100 baht. My electricity bill's less than 1,000 baht. So just add all them lot together. It's still cheap if I have to pay £100 a month tax. So swings and roundabouts. I've lived here for 12 years and I've never had to pay tax. So am I angry about it? No, I'm not. Yeah, the Thai economy is in the doldrums. That's why they've changed the visas to increase. Yeah, but as I say, if they're going to increase tourism, what they want, but they're going to tax you as well, if for the longest, it's just like a double-edged sword, isn't it? They're going to lose both ways. It's crazy. For these people who are so-called clever people, they're coming up with these, oh, I know a good idea. They actually open their mouth before they say anything. Hi, Scott. Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you very much. Thanks very much for tuning in. Nomad overseas, I'm in the US, and my understanding is that we do have one with Thailand, but taxation may still take place. Yeah, so, I mean, majority of countries have got a double tax, have a tax agreement with Thailand. But if I can explain, just a quick explanation how the taxman said to me, this is sort of in a nutshell, is that, let's say £20,000. Let's use the example of £20,000. We have, and the Americans and the Australians and New Zealand, they all have a personal tax allowance where you're allowed to earn so much money a year without paying tax. And in England, it's 12,570. So let's, for ease of working out, say it's 12,000, and I'm bringing in 20,000. So in reality, £12,000 of that hasn't been taxed. I've only been taxed on the £8,000. So if I bring the full £20,000, I've only paid tax on £8,000. So the Thai people are saying that's untaxed income. So they will give me an allowance towards the tax of the £8,000, but the other £12,000 hasn't been taxed. So the Thai people are saying, we are going to tax you on that £12,000. But we have a personal tax allowance here in Thailand because I'm married. It's 220,000, and I believe if you're single, it's 120,000. So they will grant me the tax that I've already paid on the 8. They will also give me a tax allowance on the 12,000 of 220,000, which is about 5,000. So I'm still taxed on £7,000 of that income because that's untaxed income. That's in a nutshell how it was explained to me, how they look upon the tax. So there's other allowances as well, like, you know, if you've got kids, you've got private school fees and things like that. But because we haven't got any kids, we don't have any kids going to school, we will just get the basic allowance of 220,000. That is in a nutshell how it was explained to me on one tax advisor who said, I will pay tax. The other tax advisor said, no, don't worry, you're on a pension, you won't get taxed at all. So how can one tax advisor say this and the other tax advisor say that? They are poles apart, if you see what I mean. So that's why I say to people, wait until the tax gets sorted out and it'll all get sorted. And then you might have to pay once or twice to do your tax returns, and then it'll be the same every year. So it's just another bureaucracy. They'll have to get another warehouse to put all the paperwork in the warehouse that they already get, all the paperwork that they have already. Hi Les, would 8 million baht and a pension be enough to live in Thailand? Appreciate some advice from Scott, New Zealand. Yeah, you'd live a fabulous life on that amount of money. Yep, I could be your financial advisor and help you through. I'd save you a lot of money as well, by the way. To pay an extra £100 a month to live in Thailand is a price worth paying. Yeah, exactly. I don't mind paying that. Yeah, I'm happy at £100 a month. Roughly, that's what they said I'd end up paying is £100 a month. Are the expat clubs good to join? Do they give advice in living Thailand? Yeah, the Pattaya Expats Club is a good club. It's regularly tended up to about 100 people. I mean, saying that, I haven't been for 10 years or so. But when I lived in Jomtien, I was there every week. And it's good. They have various speakers in talking about various things. Even I appeared twice as a speaker at the Pattaya Expats Club. I did it twice. And it's because we live an hour and a half away from Pattaya. So it's a long way to go just to sit and listen to somebody. But yeah, they give some really, really good information. So anyway, I digress. Here we go. We're at 14 minutes past 3 o'clock. And I want to mention now, get this over and done with, because I'm going to make a video about this as well, because I did a competition for my 10,000 subscribers, and I appreciate and I thank every single subscriber for subscribing to get me to 10,000, which is an amazing feat. And now I'm at 10,200. And I offered a prize to all those people who watched the video and left a comment about a free holiday, 2 nights holiday with evening meal and hire of a scooter, and to spend the day with me and my wife, and we can just put the world to right and things like that. Now, here's all of the people, 187 people altogether, 187. So I got all of these names, and I did a random draw, and I'm going to do the video about it, and I'm going to show the random draw that I did on another video that I'm going to do. And the winner is, there was 187 comments. Waiting this car to go by. There was 187 comments, and I replied to every single one of them. So thanks very much for putting your name in the hat. And I've tried to get in touch with a lad that won this morning. I've tried to send him a message on his YouTube handle, but his YouTube handle is, I've got it here in a minute, is Polecat999. He's the winner of that prize. So Polecat999, send me an email, and we're going to arrange for your 2 nights stay at the Barong Hotel or Barong Resort here in Banpei. And it's a fabulous prize. So well done. Thanks very much for joining. Thanks very much, everybody, for taking part. Whereas another video is going to come out, and I'll show you. It was a computer generated pick the number. I was thinking, how can I pick the number? Could I get my wife to do it? Could I get the owner to do it? And I thought, no, I'm going to do it So it's totally noisy traffic at the minute. So it's totally nothing to do with anybody else. So nobody can say it's or you picked a friend and things like that. The computer did it, and I've filmed the computer doing it, and it picked it picked this guy, Polkat 999, which was number 40, I think 41 or something like that. 41 or 47. I've just got his name wrote down here. But yeah, that's the draw done. Thanks very much for all those people who entered the draw. Well done. So that is that. I'm going to make another video about that. But as I say, the guy is more than welcome. It lasts for a year. As I said, there's no period where it's going to run out. It can come and take his prize anytime he wants. So well done, everybody, those who participated. Thanks very much. I'll do another one when we get to 20,000. I'm 10,200 now, so that might be this time next year. Right. Thank you, Les. Good man. No problem. Can't believe it, Les. YouTube stuck in an advert just as you were about to announce the name, and now live stream is frozen. Oh, who was the winner? Okay, the winner was Polkat 999. Hang on, let's have a look. I'll show you. 47. There we go. I gave everybody a number, Polkat 999, number 41. There was 187 comments, so I put every of them on a piece of paper, computer generated process on the computer, and I said pick a number between 1 and 187. It came up with 41. So Polkat 999 is the winner. Well done again. So I hope you got that. There was no advert. I hope there was no adverts in between that, and I hope it hasn't frozen anymore. So okay, next thing that we're going to talk about is, I'll get rid of them bits of paper so I can go through my list. Oh, there's a lorry coming now. I'll wait until the lorry goes by. There was somebody getting a house built just around the corner, so they're getting lots of lorry infills. Usually what they do here in Thailand, they build the land up and then leave it settle for a year, then they start building the house. Let's get me water. So yeah, they build the house is totally and utterly different here than they do in the Western countries. So yeah, next thing on the list is keto. As I said, I've had a few people with regard to asking about the keto, and I've lost 9 kilos in 4 weeks. So on my links below, I have various books that are on my buy me a coffee site. They're only $3. 5 ingredients keto, 30 keto meals in minutes, 30 minutes. And that's the new one, the keto air fryer. We bought the air fryer. Wow, that's good. That's very, very good. The air fryers are brilliant. And then keto is a lifestyle, not a choice. There we go. Or like ketogenic, a lifestyle, not a diet. Now, what I do with the keto is I go straight in at the deep end, because everybody ends up doing that anyway, because eventually with the keto, you don't feel hungry. You know, you just eat 1 meal a day, and you fast like from 6 o'clock until 6 o'clock in the evening until 12 o'clock is my fasting period, and I don't eat anything. And then my eating window is between 12 and 6. And that's when I have my coffee and my 1 meal a day. And then I have my dessert at 5 o'clock, and then I'm finished. Now, by doing that, it's tough. It is tough for the first week or so. But once you've got the first week over and done with, and your body sort of adjusts, you don't feel hungry. That's why I like the keto diet so much. And like 9 kilos in 4 weeks, which is brilliant. And every diet is difficult, but the first diet, first week is the hardest. Once you get over that first week, eating one meal a day, I drink loads of water, and also nowadays there's so many, zero sugars, like Lipton's tea, zero sugar Coke, zero sugar green aid, blue aid, raspberry aid, orange aid, whatever you want. So you can have lots of no sugar drinks, which are very good. So yeah, have a look at everything that's on the link down below in the description. That's what I use when I do the keto. So if you do anything on there, it's just what I do. And it's once you get into it, and if you're living in Thailand and you want to do keto diet, it's very, very difficult because the Thai people put sugar in absolutely everything over here. So when you're putting sugar in absolutely everything that's cooked, the sugar goes into it. So if you're a little bit tired of Thai food, go on the keto diet because you're eating Western food as well. And because you're making it, it's healthy. And I put the 0 calorie sugar in it because I've got a sweet tooth as well. It's so easy to do. And it's like eating that Western comfort food for a little bit, for a few weeks. And then when you're only eating one meal a day, it cuts your household bills down as well, doesn't it? Eating one meal a day, you can have whatever you want. Today I had a big pork steak, onions and garlic and things like that. It's just lovely, cooked in coconut oil. Oh, lovely. Anyway, that's my keto diet. If you're interested in the keto diet, have a look at the books. They're only $3, and the big cookbook, 101 different meals, I think it is. That's $7, but I've got the license to sell all the books out because I bought the private license rights to be able to sell it. So there's nothing illegal, nothing to do with copyrights because I have permission to be able to sell these books. But it's what I use. And look, you can see me. If you have a look at the car wash video that I did the other day and the car wash video I did a month ago, I wore the same T-shirt. You can see a month ago I had little love handles, if you like. This time my love handles have shrunk dramatically, 9 kilos. You need a new T-shirt, Les. It's it's okay. This one, I've still got a bit of a tummy, but that's where it comes off the last, where it goes on your tummy. But everybody says the face has gone down. I've got that's fat underneath there. That's always going to be there. But when I'm weighty, it sticks out a lot more. Man boobs, I've got man boobs, but the man boobs are going down. So that's the thing, I want to live as long as I can. And being overweight, I used to be 118 kilos. My trigger point was 105 because we'd had a few holidays, and I got to 108, and I think, I need to do something about it. So I did something about it, and now I'm down to 100 kilos with a plan to get down to 95 before I go back to the UK, because I know I'm going to put weight when I go back to the UK. Anyway, that's enough to do with the diet. Now, I have actually, have I got it here? No, I don't think I have. I've had to, I didn't have to renew me. I always renew my medical insurance. My medical insurance, and we're going to talk about medical insurance now because, I would imagine majority of people that watch YouTube channels have heard about Eddie, poor Eddie, steady Eddie. He is not my cup of tea as a YouTuber, totally different niche to me, but I've still followed him because tragically he's had a tough time. He's got an abscess or something on the brain, and he's in hospital now. And the fact that he's got medical insurance, there are many people over here that do not have medical insurance. And basically, if you see Steady Eddie, what's going on with him at the hospital, at one stage they were charging them 80,000 baht a day, which I just think is horrendous. 80,000 baht a day is just ripping the insurance company off. And apparently now Nick Dean says they've renegotiated and they've got it down to about 35,000 baht a day. And going on with that, if you do go in a hospital, you can actually negotiate your price down as well. Although I've got medical insurance, it is not a lot of medical insurance. And my renewal this year was just 200 baht less than 25,000 baht. 25,000 baht, that gives me 700,000 bahts worth of cover. Not a lot of money, is it? At 80,000 baht a day. But Steady Eddie was in the most expensive supposedly one of the best hospitals in Thailand, and they were charging 80,000 baht a day. Well, if they're going to be charging the insurance, it's a business. When all said and done, a hospital over here is a business. I've said to my wife, send me to the public hospital. I don't care. A doctor is a doctor. A doctor is just as qualified in the public hospital as he is in the private hospital. And when all said and done, in my mind, a doctor is a doctor. I don't care that I'm in a room with 20 other Thai people or anybody else. I'm still going to get the same treatment. And because of the system in Thailand, the doctors that are working in the private hospital have to do a certain amount of hours in the public hospital anyway. So the chances are you'd see the same doctor anyway. And for me, I've watched Nick Dean, NDTV. He's done a couple of videos about Steady Eddie. And when he's seen him, Steady Eddie's got all growth, unshaven, and his hair is all greasy and a mess. He even said to them, tidy him up. You should give him a shave, wash his hair, do something. At 80,000 baht a bloody night, that's more than staying in the 5-star Hilton hotel. So, as it's the best hospital, then they were and ahhing about putting him into a private room, and they said, "Can you get somebody to look at?" This is a hospital, supposedly the best hospital in Thailand, asking Nick Dean if he could get somebody, because they wanted to put him into a private room, but they needed somebody to stay there 24 hours a day. Now, I've looked into this, and you can get a carer for 16 hours a day for 19,000 baht a month. 19,000 baht a month. So, but anyway, that comes down to insurance. It's another subject that I could talk about all day, because I know people with insurance and I know people without insurance, and I know stories of both ways where they've been ripped off and got great value. And I've got to say, the guy that got really, really good value is a friend of mine. He's got dementia, and he's never been ripped off in a public hospital, but he was ripped off in a private hospital, and I'll tell you the story. It's quite a funny story. A little while ago, he got a boil on the bum. In between the cheeks of his bottom, he got a boil in a very, very it's a very, very awful place. Polkat 9 and Pop. Yeah, thanks very much, Dave. Yeah, I'll be coming to see you whilst I'm over back in the UK anyway. Sorry, I digress. I've missed a few of the comments now. But anyway, getting back to the story, he had a boil in the bum, and he insisted on going to the Bangkok hospital in Rayong. And he went to there, and he said, "I want to get the best treatment." And he doesn't have a lot of money, but he went, and they dabbed his bottom to everything, and they didn't lance the boil. They said it could do with lancing, but they'll put some cream on it, magic cream, to take the swelling away. And they charged him 5,000 baht. He was in there for half an hour. 5,000 baht. And they said, "Come back next week." They went back the following week, and they had a look at it and said, "Oh, yeah, okay. 5,000 baht, put a bit more cream on it." So 10,000 baht for 2 visits. And I said to him, "Mick," I said, "don't bother going to the private hospital again." I said, "Just go to the public hospital." I said, "It'll be much, much, much cheaper." Following week, he went to the public hospital, and they said, "Oh, this could do with being lanced." So he said, we'll lance it. So they injected his bum, lanced it, 2,000 baht, where the lancet Problem went away. 2 weeks at the private hospital, 5,000 baht to go. 1 visit to the public hospital, the Lancet, put the dressing on it, put some cream on it, went back the following week to have a look at it, 500 baht for the doctor to look at it. So he got better treatment and much, much cheaper at the public hospital than he did at Bangkok. The big hospitals are money-making machines, and they are going to milk you for as much money as they can get out of you. So go to the public hospital. Much, much cheaper. Okay, let me put my glasses on. I'll read some of these comments. Hi, England. I hear England, not a good place to live. Too expensive like New Zealand. Yeah, I mean, I'll find out when I go next month. Well, I know it's going to be expensive. It was expensive when I went there a year and a half ago. Oh, Polecat9. Oh, good. Popped you an email. Oh, sorry, I thought it was my friend Dave from England. But yeah, Polecat, well done, mate. Well done. Yeah, I'll answer your email and we can sort the prize out. But well done. Thanks very much for watching anyway. But I'm still going to do another video. You'll enjoy it. It's a fantastic place. Well done. I tried to log on to subscribe to your channel, although you've only got a couple of subscribers. I popped subscribe there. I'm glad you got in touch. Well done, mate. Thanks very much for watching. Yeah, 80,000 baht is 2,200 US. You buy pressed to pay less than 8,000 a day in the US for a level of treatment. Wow, that's just stupidly. Nick says Eddie's operation was. Oh, I was trying to find out some of the videos today and see whether because he had the operation yesterday, didn't he? I mean, again, this hospital he was at is supposed to be the best neurology hospital in Thailand, or one of the best. They had the doctor to perform the operation, but they didn't have the equipment. The other hospital that had the equipment maybe wouldn't get the doctor. And they said, this doctor has done thousands of these operations. Well, how's he done thousands of these operations if the hospital he was working at, the top neurology hospital, didn't have the equipment, which is about 10 million baht. So, yeah, it all seems a little bit spongy, what they were turning around and saying. But anyway, I'm glad to hear that Eddie's operation was successful. Good for him. I hope he makes it. Well, it's going to take a long, long time to recover, but I hope he has a speedy recovery. Yes. Must have been using toilet paper, not the bum gun. I don't know. That's sort of one of the questions I wouldn't want to know. Too much detail. What's the first thing you're looking forward to eating when you get to the UK? I've got to say custard slice. I've got a sweet tooth. Custard, I love custard. So my sister, when I go there, she gets me cream scones and custard slices. But one of the nice things I'm going to have is probably a parmo. I like parmo as well. Parmos are nice. Totally fattening, but parmos are nice also. Hello there, Dave. Got to love Thailand. If people like vlogs like this, you know, live streams, Dave is the king of live streams. He does 2 or 3 a week, and it's just like me, he can talk forever. So for those people who like talking to and watching live streams, have a look at Got to Love Thailand with Dave. He's a fascinating guy, American guy, and he's got all the caravans, solar, built his own houses, or built a couple of houses, and he's always into everything, likes his koi carp fish. Very interesting guy. So yeah, have a look at his channel. And talking about channels, I'll give you a couple of more as well. There's a friend of mine, Dave, a Canadian guy. He's just moving over here. He's just started a YouTube channel. So that's called Retired Don't Give Up. And he's gone through his journey about retiring and moving over to Thailand, how Canada's finished and things like that. So he's just started. So have a look at his channel as well. That's Retired, Don't Give Up. And another English guy, Mick's Thai Travels. He lives up at Khon Kaen, and he's just come back from the UK. He went over to the UK for a month to visit family and friends, and he lives in Derbyshire. So he's been around the Derbyshire Dales and things like that. And he's doing a comparison and things like that. So Mick's Thai Travels, give him a look. He lives in Khon Kaen, and he's got lots of stories from Khon Kaen area. And obviously Dave from Gotta Love Thailand. If you like live streams, he does live streams 2 or 3 times a week. And then another Dave from Retired Don't Give Up. Give them 3 channels a look and see what you think. They're worth a look. Thanks very much, Dave. You always advertise my site every time I come on, and so thanks very much. If I can pay back the compliments, same here. Jacoby, good day, Les. Good day, morning, afternoon, welcome wherever you're from. Les, how did you navigate starting over in a foreign country where without friends, family, girlfriends, etc.? Love the culture there, but often wonder about being the outsider or farang there. It's quite easy. It's quite easy here because, what can I say? The people who you meet over here are all in the same ilk, if you like. I don't want to pigeonhole everybody, but I've got to say the majority of guys that come over here have been divorced, lost their businesses, financially not well off, or a lot of them, and I've gone through problems, widowed, bereaved, stuff like that. We all have a sort of similar story, is why we all end up in Thailand. And the fact that we all think that Thailand is a better place financially, nicer people, less crime. So we all sort of talk the same story. So instantly you've got a bond with the majority of people that live over here. I like it over here. I've only got my fire brigade pension, which isn't a big pension, but I can live on that much, much better here than I could in the UK. I like it here because of the crime. Crime is little to none, especially where I live. And the people are happy here. People without money over here in Thailand, the Thai people, they're happy with their lot. And to find that in one country is a lot to ask. Is it perfect? Thailand isn't perfect, no. But it's a lot, for me, it's a lot better to live here than living in the UK. In the UK, everybody's miserable. Look what's going on at present. Everybody's sick and tired of what's happening with disproportionate benefits going to those people who shouldn't be here in the first place. I have to watch what I'm saying on YouTube, otherwise it'll just demonetize everything. So you have to be careful. But you get my drift. It's the same happening in America. Australia, not so much, because they were chastised for turning the boats back and things like that. But they did a good job when all said and done. Europe is the same. New Zealand is everywhere's expensive. Where the good old days? The good old days have gone. The good old days when I was growing up poor was better than trying to make a living now. 2 people have to work to support one household. Whereas in my days, my dad worked and he earned enough money to pay for the household, and my mum looked after us. So the good old days have gone. And like on my last video, I said to everybody, I said, leave a comment here. Anything that's been good, that's happened in the last 10 years, just leave a comment and say, this is good, what's happened in the last 10 years. Nobody left a comment. Nobody said, this is what's been good in the last 10 years in my country, America, New Zealand, Australia, whatever. Nobody, not one single comment. And I still would put that challenge out to here, the people on the live stream. Just name one good thing that's happened in your country in the last 10 years. And I don't think anybody can name anything that was good, that benefited everybody, type of thing. The wealthy people could put plenty of things on there, because there's more billionaires now than there ever has been. And it's still the same. The wealthy are getting wealthier. The poorer, working class people are still getting poorer and not so well looked after. Working class people will never make it. They'll never make it. We're always going to be at that level, and the elite will keep us at that level. But over here, your money goes further. I don't worry about the gas, electricity bill. I don't worry about me council tax. I don't worry about how we're going to afford to pay my bills this month. I can't remember living in England any time thinking that. It was always robbing Peter to pay Paul, then knocking at the door, then this bill, that bill, the car insurance is due, the house insurance is due, this is due, that's due, bills coming through the door all the time, credit card bills. I don't get any of that here. I can live on 60,000 baht, which is about £1,300 a month. Can anybody say you can live on £1,300 a month and a good lifestyle in England or America or Australia or New Zealand? £1,300 a month, whatever that is in your currency. And I think not. Unless if you own your own house, you've got a bit of a fighting chance there. But if you don't own your house, if you're having to rent a house, you just forget about it. No way. Good morning from the Burrowlays. Good morning. Oh, Dave. Did you see, Dave? I'm coming back to England, so me and you will have a cup of coffee one day. So looking forward to that, mate. That'll be good. Hi, Les. Can you leave links to the channels you just mentioned? I can't get to the links because I'm just doing this via YouTube, so I don't have the StreamYard or stuff like where I could put links on. I can just say, retired, don't give up. Just type in that in the YouTube search and it'll come up. So retired, don't give up, and mixed Thai travels. And he's from Khon Kaen. And then Gotta Love Thailand with Dave. So just write them on a piece of paper. Sorry, I can't leave the links, but because I'm only using the YouTube one, I can't leave any links. I might have to go and I might have to go to StreamYard because I do one a fortnight now, and everybody likes them. As I said, the last one 3.5 hours and 3 hours 45 minutes. People are always chatting and talking on there, so it's always worth. While people have got questions, I'll answer the questions as long as I can. Thanks, Les. 55 years old and just want to go back in time 20 years to how the culture was then. Sad how much our globalist politicians have harmed the average. Yeah. When I was a kid, I had a happy childhood, but we were poor. We lived in a it's not a very nice place, South Bank. We were near the steelworks, so my dad could go to work to the steelworks. It was a terraced house, street house. We had coal fire, no central heating, single pane glass, and in the wintertime, it was like autumn leaves because all the frost froze all over the windows. They were happy childhood days. I enjoyed my child, going up the allotments, and we only ever had one holiday ever in my whole childhood, from being born till when I was 16. I went 17, went on my own holidays. One holiday. My dad worked at the steelworks. My mum worked sometimes night shifts at Welford's bakeries. So, and I've got to say that was a habit. No mobile phones. We had to get dragged in on a night time, when it was getting dark. We played out all day, fixing bicycles, go-karts and things like that. They were happy days. Kids nowadays, they're all like that on the phone. They could have a conversation. You could be sat right opposite them and they'll have a conversation on the phone with you. They've lost the art of conversation, practical skills. As a kid, this is probably where I got all my DIY from, because I love DIY, fixing things, mending things. Kids now wouldn't know how to do it. Cooking, cleaning, things like that. No, don't do that. Our days, our generation, we had the good days. Nowadays, it's just, How can you have a good time when you're struggling, when your parents are struggling for money? You know, it's crazy. Fat Boy Slim, Blaze, your channel is great. You do live the dream. Thanks very much. I do. It's a fantastic. I love living here. And I wish I could bring every single one of us, the 77 people in the house, I wish I could bring all 77 of you to sit on this sofa here and look at the view over there. Look, there's my hammock. I was on there earlier on this afternoon before I came on for like 10 minutes. I had a quick look at my iPad. I wish you could have the feeling that I've got here of utter contentment, happiness, fulfillment, happy with where I am, happy with my lot, on not a lot of money. I used to be one of them Mr. Joneses who worked 7 days a week, 4 jobs, trying to get this, that, and the other. No need for all of that lot. I arrived here with a suitcase and a backpack full of clothes, and that was it. And everything I've managed to get on my pension over here. We're buying this house now. I've got a car, a nice car. I've got a motorbike, Sam Law. We have holidays, everything just on my pension, 60,000 baht a month. We can manage to live on that amount of money. How many of you on here, this channel, out of 77, 76 people now, could manage to live a good lifestyle on that £1,300 a month? I don't think many people could. Bangkok Bank health and accident insurance, any good? The accident insurance, I think you get about 5,000 bahts worth of accident cover if you've got a Bangkok Bank account. 5,000, it's not a lot of money, but if you've got no insurance whatsoever, it's better than nothing at all, isn't it? I'm moving out to Thailand in November from Wales. Well done. Well done. As I say, November time, it's the start of the high season then. The weather's perfect. So good luck. Good luck with your move. Best wishes for your future plans. Morning, Les Employee. Looking good for your snazzy haircut. Yeah. It cost me £2.50 to get my haircut. If I got a cut in Redcar, it's £10. £2.50. I'll be away for 2 months. It'll need cutting when I come back, and I'll just wait and I'll pay the £2.50, not the £10 in Redcar. People said to me the last time I did my videos in England, how much? 2 cups of coffee and a bacon sandwich, £12. I'll be doing many, many more of them. I'll be doing price comparisons for coffees and tea cakes and bacon sandwiches all over the place. I'm going to have a meal before I leave Thailand, sat on the beach, and I'll tell you how much it's cost me for this particular meal on the beach. And the only one restaurant that I know that's actually almost on the beach in Redcar is on the Stray Cafe, and I'll have a meal there, and I'll show you how much I pay for that particular meal compared to the meal here in Thailand. I know it's like swings and roundabouts. It's going to cost me quadruple what I pay here. And the ice creams here, I can get an ice cream here for 10 baht KFC ice cream. And I'll get a lemon top in Redcar, and they're about £2. So I'm looking forward to do all of them, and I'm going to show that what houses you can get if I went back to England. This is how much, this is the lifestyle I could afford on my money. Because if I went, for those people who want to go back to England, you get no benefits for 9 months, you get no housing benefits, you live on what you have. Getting back onto the NHS system can take up to 2 years, so you'd have to potentially pay for your treatment. That's what I'm saying. There's all of these things that you'd have to bear into mind if you go back to England. And this is what I'm going to do, because sadly I've got to go back because my sister's not feeling very well. But whilst I'm there, I'm going to do many videos on the cost of living in the UK and what's changed in the 14 years that I've been out of England. So I'm looking forward to it in a way, because it's summer and I can get out and I like going out. Whereas when I went there last time, it was in the winter time, and it was my stepdad had died, so it was a sad occasion. And 9 weeks I was there, and I stayed my sister's birthday and Christmas and New Year, and we didn't go anywhere because it was freezing bloody cold. But this time we're in July, I should say. Hopefully it's going to be warm. July and August are supposed to be the best months of the year. I'll see how good it is. I'll see how many cloudy days we have in them 8 weeks, 10 weeks. I'm going to be there. But anybody who wants to come down and see me, come down to Redcar. We can go and have a beer in the Wetherspoons and the coffee. £1.79 for a coffee and refills. So Wetherspoons, I met a few people there in the Wetherspoons last time I was there. So I shall be there this year as well. I love hearing about your wax lyrical about Thailand, your life there. It's so refreshing to hear someone talk about being happy. Yeah, it is. As I say, I wish every one of us could sit on that sofa and see what I can see. And the people that have come here and sat down on that sofa and had a coffee, and we put the world to rights, and almost everybody loves it here. Almost everybody. It's not, Thailand isn't for everybody. People say where I live that they feel that it might be a little bit too remote for them. And I'm sort of semi-rural, but this is what I wanted when I lived in the UK. That was my dream, to live semi-rural. I couldn't afford to live semi-rural, and I'll do that as well. I'm going to drive around the areas that when I was younger, I aspired to want to move to. And I'll show you what prices there are. I'll show you what prices there are. I'll explain the prices if I wanted to live in that area now. Renting is just out of the question. I could never, ever, ever afford to rent in them areas. £1,300 doesn't even cover my rent here in the US. Went up 34% last year. Crazy, I think so many are finding. Yeah, exactly. 34%. Wow, that's a huge rise. I've watched videos. I've watched videos over the past 2 or 3 days, sort of trying to get the flavour of going back to England. I can't believe how many tent cities in Bristol, Birmingham, how many derelict shops there are, town centres that have closed down. The dereliction you can see with your own eyes, and this is where I'm going to go and look at. Middlesbrough was the closest like big town from where we lived, and I'm going to go around Middlesbrough, and I'm going to go around where I rented me house out to the university students. I'm going to walk around, and it's quite a rough area, but I won't be going around at night, that's for sure. The demise of England is so sad to see. You know, tent city. We're the 6th richest nation in the world. We shouldn't have anybody living in tents, homeless and things like that. Why has it got to this stage? Like as earlier on I mentioned about being poor, we had good time. We had nobody living in tents. We had nobody homeless living on the streets all the time. So why have we got it now? We're the 6th richest country in the world. I'm definitely going to get the health insurance when we move to Thailand. But do you have to be able to? Hang on, I saw it. But do you have to be able to get a marriage visa? No, you don't. The only time you need mandatory health insurance is if you have the OA visa. If you come here on a exemption visa where you just come on a holiday and then you get married, and then you're on the O visa, you don't need to have medical insurance. This might be one of the things that they are going to change in the future, but as yet, they sort of don't want to put any obstacles in the way to stop people from coming here. And by saying mandatory health insurance is mandatory, so therefore it might put people off also. But no, living here, I mean, I know quite wealthy people can't afford their insurance. There's one guy that I've just found out the other day, he's quite a wealthy guy, and he's just had to pay just over 100,000 baht to stay in a hospital for 2 nights. That's a big hit, 100,000 baht for 2 nights. But he could have gone to the public hospital and paid 5,000 or 10,000 baht per night. So public hospital, that's my go-to. Go to the public hospital. Don't be shy and embarrassed and think I'm not going to get good treatment. If it's good enough for the Thai people, it's good enough for me. That's my answer to it. Always go to the public hospital. So yeah, and get the insurance. If you get it before you're 65 with Pacific Cross, and the link for Pacific Cross guy who will give you a bespoke quote is in the description below. And if you contact Loic, he's one of the reps for Pacific Cross, and he can deal with your person if you've got any pre-existing conditions. If you get your insurance before you're 65, then you don't need a medical. But if you're after 65, should say, then you need a medical to see if there's anything wrong. And then you have a waiting period and things. So get your insurance as early as you can. I've had mine for 10 years, 12 years, 10 years, 10 years. I've lived here for 12 years. I've had my insurance for 10 years. So I got it when it was cheap. So my emphysema is covered now because I didn't have emphysema. It wasn't a pre-existing condition. So get it as soon as you can. Question, who do you use for flights, Les? Skyscanner. If I'm looking for flights, I've done Kayak, I've done Google Flight Search, I've done all sorts of things. And for me, Skyscanner is one of the best. I'm flying back home with Qatar Airways. Qatar Airways. And I could have done it. I've only booked a one-way flight because I don't know how long I'm going to be back in the UK for. And it's £345 to fly back with Qatar. I could have got a direct flight with Thai Airways from Bangkok to London Gatwick for £361, but I got it with Qatar Airways for £345 with a stop in Doha. And the reason why I've gone for the stop in Doha, because I've done the long haul flights, 12.5-hour flights. It's audible. I don't like, at least with the 7.5 hours, by the time you get on, you sat down, you take off, do your meal, you watch a movie, they'll give you something else before you're about to land. You get off, you walk an hour and a half to the next gate, you get back on, you have another meal, watch a movie, they'll give you something else because you're almost there. And for me, every time I've done that short of 7 hours, although it's longer, it seems quicker. And I prefer that. So that's what I've done. I'm going back with Qatar Airways. So I'm looking forward to it in some ways, but not looking forward to it. The reasons why I'm going back to the UK. But Sky Scanners, yeah. Yeah, it's sad to hear about my sister. Yeah, she's not very well. But I said that's the only reason why I've gone back to England. No other reason apart from my sister. Just answered that. I even saw where a lot of the town's local British pubs are shutting down because some people don't go out. So, yeah, exactly. It's crazy, isn't it? You know, so more people like personal responsibility for the choices they make. Even choice has a consequence. You are free, but why expect society to bail them out? Oh, I could tell you some. In fact, I will tell you a story about that, about society paying. Crime does pay. Crime is on the increase. Okay, I'll tell you a story. Somebody wrote on one of my replies today the fact that I get a gold-plated pension from the fire brigade because I was a public servant, and I do, and I'm grateful, and I'm over the moon that I get a decent pension from the fire service because I was a public servant working, and I had no idea what the pension was when I was 19 years old when I joined the fire service. I joined the fire service at 19-year-old because I was on strike at British Steel, and having no money for 6 weeks sucks. So I joined the fire brigade at 19-year-old, and the guy said to us, "You retire at 50." And it was just like whoosh over my head. I'm 19-year-old, 50-year-old, you're an old man when you get to 50-year-old. But then when I did retire and I got my pension, and it's like, wow, oh, thanks very much. But I paid 11% towards my pension as well. It is undoubtedly a good pension. Anybody that works for the public services, the police, the doctors, the MPs, wow, they do take advantage of the system. But anyway, I paid into the system. I'm very appreciative of what pays to me every month. But he was slagging me off because I get this pension. It's not my fault. I didn't make the rules. The government made the rules, or whoever, my unions made the rule. I take advantage of it, and I'm very, very grateful for it. And I thank everybody that, you know, right place, right time, right job. Now I'll give you another example. I dealt with people who were on the worst part of society, the scumbags, the people who used to steal cars and smash people. This particular individual, 28 times he stole a car before he actually went to prison. 28 times. And he was on methadone. He'd been on methadone for 14 years at a cost of £14,000 per year to give him his methadone treatment. And because he's on methadone, he gets extra benefits because he's unemployable. Nobody's going to ever employ him because of the medication that he was taking, if you like. So he gets extra benefits. He never has to work because, you know, he can't be a contribution member of society. I've paid in all my life through society. I still pay my taxes now and my pension. This young individual who was a prolific offender, he's always going to take from society, and society is going to give him a lot more money. So he's never, ever going to contribute to society. I did for 30 years. So I say I've got a little bit of a right because I made a contribution to society compared to some of these people who could be laid in the bed next to you in your later years because you've got dementia or whatever in a nursing home. This individual has never ever paid into society, but he could be in the next bed to you getting paid. So criminals do get away with murder. The average everyday working guy pays the bloody price for it. Anyway, I'm going to do a couple of videos on about that. One individual, because I did a project on this. One individual, for having one car crash, it cost society £1 million. £1 million, more than I'll see in a lifetime. But this one individual having one car crash cost society £1 million, and I'll go through that in the video. So I've seen both sides of it, I think, you know. So yeah, thank you very much. I worked for what I've got now. I live on a small amount of money, but it's enough money over here. Do people in Ring worry a lot about jellyfish? No. Ever heard about any accidents? We do have a jellyfish season, and it usually is around about now, rainy season, and we get some really big white jellyfish. But that might be for a couple of months of the year. I've only ever heard of a couple of incidents down in Koh Samui in Phuket where a couple of people have died with a box jellyfish, but the box jellyfish don't come up to where we are in Rayong. I go swimming in the sea. No, I have no fears. There's been one shark attack in 10 years, I believe. Again, that was further south, but not up here. The seas over here are safe. We go every time we go to Koh Samet, we go snorkeling. We've been to Koh Kud snorkeling, Koh Chang snorkeling, and it's safe as it really, really is safe. So yeah, we don't have a problem with jellyfish. There was a couple of Portuguese man o' wars a few weeks ago. Somebody said they've seen 3 or 4 of them on the beach. Now, again, I've lived here for 12 years, and that's the first time I've ever heard of Portuguese men o' wars being on the beaches over here. But their sting is pretty severe. But no, you don't hear much about the jellyfish problem at all. I know a guy paying $600 a week rip up. Yeah, $600 a week. Wow, that's a lot of money. Do people ring? Well, jellyfish, we've done that one. I made a mistake last month and flew back with Eastern China Airways, 7 hours to Shanghai, wait for 7 hours and 13-hour flight to Shanghai to London Heathrow. Yeah, the flight was 230. Yeah, I looked at that. I could have got that cheap Chinese flight. But again, it was another 12 or 13-hour flight. And it's a long, long time. So it took me a day to find out the flight. And my flight coming back, I provincially penciled it in for back end of September. And that, again, 350 quid to come back. So there and back, £700, which is quite good, I think. But I remember the days you used to get a return for like £400 and £500 from England. And if I flew to Newcastle, it was going to cost me £200 more than flying to London. So I'm flying to London, and then I'm getting the coach back up to Middlesbrough. And the coach from London Victoria to Middlesbrough is £12.50. 6 hours, okay, but it was 3 hours on the train, but that was 80 and 90 quid because it was a Friday. So I've looked at all the prices, I think. I am a thrifty traveller. I won't pay, I will shop around, and I'm retired, so I've got the time. It doesn't matter if it takes 6 hours to get from London to Redcar. What I'm going to do, I'm going to sit on the sofa 3 hours earlier if I pay 90 quid for a train. So I enjoy the travel. I love traveling anyway. Yes, I'm flying to London Gatwick, and then catching the Gatwick Express which is 20 quid or so, to Victoria, and then the bus from Victoria to Middlesbrough, and then a bus, and it drops me right outside my sister's house. John the account, that's a flipping good price. What, 231 or 344? But 231, yeah, if you got the time, that's like over £100 cheaper than what I paid. Are you flying to London direct? No, I'm flying. We stop halfway in Doha, which like I've explained earlier on, I like Doha. Well, I like stopping halfway. I could have got a direct flight with Thai Airways for 361. But I just don't like 12. I don't like 12 and a half hours on the plane. It's a long, long time, especially during the night as well. And then catching the bus from London Victoria. It's too expensive to go out. People stayed up. Yeah, it is. I mean, as I said, I went out with some of the lads on a Friday, and there was like 6 of us, and we are. I have no idea which is the expensive pub and which isn't the expensive pubs, and so we all went in rounds, and I got into a round, and it was like almost 30 quid for 6 beers, and he's like, "Wow, how much?" But it was one of these little micro pubs. I don't know how they make them. Well, I know how they make the money because they charge £30 for 6 beers. That was a shock to the system, 30 quid. But anyway, I'll be doing that again. I'll be going out for a few beers with my friends and that. So it'll be good for catch up as well. When my son came here in February, went via Hong Kong, was a lot cheaper than going direct. Not much of a wait between. Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, Farang Travels, hi Farang Travels. Did you check out other countries before you made the decision that Thailand was your home? How long did it take for you to acclimatize to the heat? Yeah, I traveled the world for 2 years. I retired at the age of 50, and I went around the world for 2 years. 1 year going around the world, and the rest going around Europe. So I've visited many countries, and I've got to say, Thailand. I've been to Thailand before I retired a couple of times, and I always knew Thailand was a friendly place, and it's on the cheap scale for affordability to live here. everywhere else that I went was megabucks, was expensive. The only other contender was Vietnam. I like Vietnam. But Vietnam didn't have a visa program at that time. And I still believe they don't have one as yet either. So Vietnam, it wasn't as easy to live there long term. Whereas Thailand, the visa is quite simple and easy and affordable to get here. As I say, Vietnam, I did like Fiji when I was there. But Fiji, because it's just islands, if you wanted to go anywhere, it was mega bucks to leave. Unless you like island life, once you moved there, you were there for life, really. Portugal was on the cards. That was cheap and affordable, as was France. I was going to build a house in France. But then I was semi-rural in France as well. But then just the cost, to build the house went up 45,000 euros. And if I'd have built the house, that would have been a big, big mistake there, because I would never have been able to afford to finish it off, because I was just about had enough money when I retired. But when the pound crashed and the euros or the pound collapsed against the currency of everything else, 45, nowhere in this earth I could get 45,000 euros. And that was at a pinch. And that was doing a lot of the work myself. So I'm glad I made the move to Thailand. Getting used to the heat, yes, it does take some getting used to. But I'd sooner be warm than cold. I can sit in front of a fan and get cool here. But if you have to sit in front of an electric fire, that's super, super costly to keep warm. Even putting your fleeces and your coats on, you shouldn't have to. I mean, I'm t-shirts all the time here now. You know, it's lifestyle, being comfortable. It hot and sticky through the hot and sticky season, the hot weather. It is, but it's 3 months of the year. And then like now, because it's rainy season, although it's still hot now, it's 31 here now at the minute. And it's a lot cooler now because we're in rainy season. But look, we've still got blue skies. It's wonderful. It might rain for an hour or 2 hours a day. But apart from that, it just getting some use. So the worst thing you can do is just sitting in the house with the air conditioning on all the time. And I know some people who have done that. And once you get used to sitting inside with the air conditioning all the time, then you're uncomfortable every time you walk outside of the house. We have the air conditioning on as little as possible. We sleep on a night time without the air conditioning. We just have 2 fans. So we acclimatize ourselves to the nice weather and the warm weather. And if you do that, you won't go far wrong. Is it easy to get back into Thailand if you've been away for a few weeks or months? Now, this is going to be an interesting time for me, because my marriage visa is up for renewal, and it's up for renewal at the end of July. I won't be here when it's up for renewal. So we're going to immigration department on Tuesday to ask them the question, what do I need to do? I've got an idea what I need to do. But I can't apply for my marriage visa sooner, because I've got to do all the paperwork for a marriage visa, which is a lot of paperwork. Then I've got to, once they do all the paperwork, then it's a month under consideration. And if I'm not here during that month of reconsideration, a month of consideration, then I'm not here to get me book stamped at the end of the month. So because of all of them situations, I did this when my mother was dying, and I stayed until the end. And then as soon as I said, well, I won't be here for that month of consideration, she said, I'll give you 7 days to leave the country. So now I'm not making that mistake again. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I'll restart the process again for the marriage visa when I come back. Whether I have to go through, get an O visa in London, this is where I'm going to go and ask the lady the question for. And like I say to everybody, don't be afraid of the immigration. The immigration are there to help you. They're not there to cause problems. And hopefully she's going to give me the answers that I think she's going to give me. And then we'll go from there. Right. Okay. Well, I can't say that word, but I'll use what Tim Newton says: is the broccoli. Has it spoiled society? Has it made anything different with the broccoli? I don't know. I've never taken it myself. No intentions of taking it. It is what it is. I've got no problems with people who want to have the broccoli or not, but it seems to be a big problem over here. Les, is it true you don't need a visa now to stay in Thailand? This is what they announced, 60 days, but I've heard some people they've still only got 30 days. That will be, I'm sure, announced soon. And certainly it will be 60 days because they want the tourists to come here. Afternoon, Les. Looks like I've missed the live for almost an hour and a half. Drink more water. No problem. I'm glad you've joined us when you can, for those people. Yeah, an hour and 25 minutes we've been going up for now, which is good. We've got 94 people in and 38 thumbs up. Can I get another few people to put a thumbs up? It all helps with the algorithm, with YouTube. They look on the facts and the figures and things like that. So the more thumbs up, if you're enjoying it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe. If you're not subscribed, subscribe would be nice. I've got 10,200 now, which is good. I'm on my way to be 20,000. Yeah, some people are still reporting that they're only getting 30 days. Yeah, I have heard also some people are getting 60 days. Yeah, I figured out that I should stay outside and be uncomfortable until I'm actually comfortable. Then the aircon at night. That's what we do. I mean, we've got the sofa there, so we sit outside a lot. We've got the hammock there. So we've got a bit of a breeze here. Like I did a couple of videos about keeping your house cool. You can just see on the front door, we've got a mosquito net there. So that front door is permanently open. Then I put a new vented back door on. So I've got the normal door, which is always open. Then a steel door with a mosquito net on there. And we have the windows with a mosquito screen. So the house is always got an airflow. So it cools the house down. And then sometimes when it's hot on the nighttime, when we get to dark about 7 o'clock, we'll put the aircon on for an hour or so. And that's all we put it on. If we do put it on for an hour and a half on a night. And that's it. We never have the aircon on in the bedroom. We just have 2 fans. So that keeps our electricity bill down to about 800 baht, or less than 800 baht a month. So yeah, acclimatized to it. It's nice to be cool all the time. But I mean, I'm a little bit tacky, a little bit sweaty because I'm sat here. But I've got no fan on, no nothing. The little bit of a breeze is good. So yeah, you've got to get used to it. You've got to sort of bite the bullet. And if you do sit in front of the air conditioning all the time, and I know one lady that did that, and she ended up moving away from here because she couldn't stand the heat. She had a lovely house with a swimming pool, but she never went into it because she said it was just too hot to sit outside. Highlights just back from my holiday Thailand was around Hua Hin. I like Hua Hin, very nice. Checked out my future retirement plans. Very much like the area of Cha Am compared to Hua Hin. 20 minutes drive away. Yeah, I think Cha Am it's a cheaper version of Hua Hin. Hua Hin is very, very busy traffic wise, but I like Hua Hin. It's very cosmopolitan, very upmarket, very nice. That's what I say to people who want to live in Thailand. Go and have a look at Hua Hin. Hua Hin's got so much to offer. It's a lovely place. What date are you flying back? I'm flying back 17th of June, EVA direct to Heathrow. My first time going direct. Thought it would be better until you said you hated it. I'm not going back until July. Independence Day, July the 4th. And I get into England on July the 5th, when they're going to announce the new government, who will be Labour, I'm sure. I've heard some YouTubers say that a new 60-day visa exemption. You can't get 30-day extension. Others say you can. We'll have just to wait and see. Yeah, exactly. Just have to wait and see. No, I can't understand the life of me that they give all of these details and they can't back it up with, say, if you get a 60-day, you're going to get a 30-day extension, or you're only going to get a 60-day. Why don't they just announce it and have it all written down? It's all done. Same with the tax. Again, I went on a little bit earlier on about the tax with regard to, what happened with the tax. They still don't know, 6 months. So hopefully the 60-day visa, exemption visa, will be announced very, very soon. Do you have problems with snakes? No, not really. We've had a couple of snakes, little snakes in the house, and I've seen a few little snakes, but no, I always take big steps, and it's always big steps away from them. But if they're in the house, my wife's scared of all creepy crawlies and stuff like that. So if they're in the house, I'll kill them. If they're in the garden, I'll just shoo them on the way. And the most dangerous snakes here are the cobras. And I've got to say, I've never, ever seen a cobra where I live. I've seen a few grass snakes and rat snakes and things like that. Give you a nasty nip. But if I seen a cobra, yeah, I'd certainly make big steps in the opposite direction. But 10 years, well, I've lived in this house for 8 years, and we've got overgrown grass next door to us, and I've just seen one massive big python going in there, and again a few rat snakes and things like that. But there's got to be snakes about, because I've never ever seen a rat or a mouse where we live, ever, and we live in the countryside. Plenty of toads, so there's plenty of food for the snakes here. I'm surrounded by lakes. The house is called Lakeview, and we've got about 4 or 5 lakes all around of us. So the snakes like near the water. So yeah, I've never had a problem. Do you think new visa is going to benefit people with marriage visas in any way? No, they've never mentioned anything extra about the marriage visas, but I like the marriage visa because it's simple. Well, the paperwork's expensive. The paperwork is difficult to do because there's a lot of it. So if they made the marriage visa a bit simpler, then it tick a lot of boxes. Spent much time in the Philippines. Never been to the Philippines at all. Yeah, it's not been in the Royal Gazette. That's when it is really made official, when it goes in the Royal Gazette. Allegedly, you can extend to 180 days, but as Les is saying, they never make anything clear. Yeah. Hopefully, when it goes in the Royal Gazette, then everybody will know. Bit silly, overstays for 2 days, so I had to pay 1,000 baht. Yes, 500 baht a day. Yeah, again, try not to stay, because you can get a red mark. Even a day or 2 days, it doesn't look good, because you'll get a red mark in your book to say that you've overstayed. Do you have to pay taxes on your retirement income as well? Do Thailand take extra, or do they keep the amount? Again, I discussed this a little bit earlier on with the guy. Nobody knows. I've had 2 tax people, supposedly tax experts. One said I'll pay tax, and the other one said I didn't. And at the beginning of this video, I did quite a big explanation as to the guy who said I will pay tax on it. I'd sooner listen to the guy that says I doesn't pay tax on it. We don't know. It still hasn't come out properly yet, but we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it. At the most, the guy said I'll have to pay £100 a month tax on my 60,000 baht a month income. I can afford to pay £100 a month if I have to, but hopefully I won't have to pay that. But again, the devil's in the detail, so let's see what happens. If they do start taxing retirees over here, I think they're going to shoot themselves in the foot, because it'll drive a lot of people from not coming here in the first place, and it'll drive a lot of people out. for 6 months. Why not, if you're retired, go on holiday for 6 months rather than paying tax to Thailand? So the money that they would lose by the retirees going to live elsewhere in the world, it's money lost in Thailand, isn't it? So I think, personally speaking, they will lose more money by doing that than the money that they'll gain through taxing people. It's just maths. It's simple. I'm not a clever person, but if I can work all of these figures out, surely these experts can work the same figures out and come to the same conclusion. They're going to shoot themselves in the foot. They're going to lose more than what they're going to get. Crazy. And it's going to put people off when they want to get people here, because the Thai economy isn't doing very well at the minute by all accounts. Thoughts and issues. Bringing a high-end desktop to Thailand. I would say buy them here, because what you can do, you can get stopped by the Thai customs, and they can make you pay tax or a duty on bringing anything electrical over here. So yeah, and again, if you're not prepared to pay the duty, they'll take it off you. So it's like people, when they bring, there's sort of a ruling that if you get a retirement visa and you bring a container full of your possessions over here, you've got 6 months to be able to do that. After 6 months, then you've got to pay import duties, which can be very, very expensive on anything. Like if you're bringing tools, computers, stuff like that, it might be worth buying here, because let's face it, they can charge whatever they want as an import duty. And if you want it, you'll pay it. If you don't want it, they get it. And if you pay the tax, then they'll get that money, and it'll go towards buying what they want in the first place. Yeah. Don't bring a container full of stuff over here unless it's sentimental goods and things like that. You're going to pay dearly for it. That's my advice. I came here with a suitcase full of clothes and a rucksack full of bits and pieces, and that was it. And I bought everything else whilst I'm here. Much, and everything's new once you get over here as well. So yeah, that's what I would say. Saying a blessing for Ed Sweeney. Yeah, I hope he recovers. I hope the operation went well. I hope he recovers speedily. But it just goes to show that, you know, once we get to a certain age, I'm 60, coming up to 64. It's my birthday in July. So 64 years of age. I've got more years behind me than I have in front of me. And that's the way I look at it, because for every year, there's a chance you're going to get illness, you're going to get some sort of things going to start going wrong with you. So live your life whilst you can, when you can. And Ed was a challenger for that. He's been all over the place. He traveled all over the place, much more than even me. And but he's been struck down with something, and his traveling days, I'm afraid, I think, is over. He's sort of paralyzed on one side. Hopefully he'll get reuse of his arm and his leg and his hip or whatever, but that might take months, it might take years, always with the fear that this might come back again. Who knows what damage it's done? Whether he's going to make 100% recovery, I doubt it. But this is what I'm saying. Travel whilst you can, retire as soon as you can, for as long as you can, and do whatever you can in life, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. Anyway, that's that. And like, best wishes to Eddie. So which location? I don't know. I can't understand that one. Which location for Labrador? For a Labrador, for bringing the dog over here, that's going to be difficult. I've known people who brought the dogs over here and they suffer with the heat, because the heat is very, very hot for us, and for a dog it's even worse, obviously with the fur and things like that. Thailand does it their way, no Farang way. Yeah, well, it is Thailand, isn't it? So English, we do it our way. And now we do it the the ethnic way. There's an interesting article in Cowsod English stating that income from pensions will be exempt from the new tax, but all other income is likely to be taxed, but it's still being, like I'm saying, there's so many misinformation videos, there's hundreds, and I haven't done any videos specifically about tax, but if people ask, then I'll talk about it. But again, the two tax guys that I've spoken to, for my own personal feeling, one says you're going to pay tax, the other one says doesn't. And one of them says to issue my tax statement to the tax authority was going to cost me 7,500 baht. I said, I'll just wait. I'll wait and see what happens. In Thailand till I die. Hello, Les. I'm sure it does come in. There will always be some sort of loophole to avoid or reduce it. Yeah, the tax experts are making, provisions now. There's ways around it. Somebody told me the other day I can gift my wife 25 million baht a year without paying any tax. So my wife would be happy if I gifted 25 million baht a year. I'd be happy if I could give her 25 million baht a year. I wouldn't worry about tax then if you've got 25 million baht to give away. Yeah, dogs are used to a different way of life here. Mine just lays about all day, and I've run about garden when cooler in the morning and evening. Yeah, bringing a dog over here, you can't go for walks like you can back in the UK. Or there's soy dogs around here everywhere, and they're all territorial. So if you're taking your dog for a walk, it'll get in a fight with other dogs. It's baking hot, so they've got to get used to the heat over here. And I don't know, you've probably seen it loads of times. When we get to 30 degrees in England, they say, don't take your dogs out for a walk. They're going to burn the paws. Well, it's 30 degrees every day here. So the roads are all hot. The pavements are all hot. So if you're getting the advice to don't take your dogs for a walk because it's over 30 degrees in England, it's 30 degrees every day here. So taking your dog out for a walk, they're going to burn the paws if the paws aren't used to it. So yeah, it's very tough for dogs over here. I've got a couple of friends who like taking the dogs for a walk. They have to take the dog in the car or a samlar to a location where there isn't any soy dogs, just to let the dogs have a free run around the fields and that. So yeah, it's very, for me, very difficult to bring dogs here. A lady that I knew had 6 like Jack Russell dogs. Never ever got out of the garden. Never. Because as soon as they got out of the garden, they just ran everywhere and they were attacked by other dogs. So she never ever, she had a big piece of land, so the dogs had plenty of space to run around, but only ever in the garden. So 6 little Jack Russells give plenty of little dog bombs everywhere. So the garden had to be cleaned every single day. Have I ever been to Cambodia or Laos? No, I haven't. Laos is on my bucket list to go. Beautiful bio. I've never really fancied Cambodia, to be honest. Vietnam, stunningly beautiful. I'd go back there again. Vietnam is a stunningly beautiful place. Shih Tzus, yeah, I know a couple of people with Shih Tzus, again, just around their own house and the garden, and never really get took for walks anywhere. Yeah, just find the paths to take. I mean, I live around the lakes, and I've only ever seen 2 soy dogs around the lakes. So people do take the dogs for a walk around here. But if there's just up the road there's 6 soy dogs, and they're rule this road. And we've had other people just dump the dogs here, and just drive along, stop, and the dog gets thrown out. And wow, do they get set upon by the soy? It's territorial, and every night you can hear the dogs barking at each other because they'll walk up to a certain step and then that's it, and then it's another soy dog's territory, and occasionally they'll fight at the boundaries. So yeah, it's not the type of thing, you know, to bring your dogs here, because you'd have to have a big garden for them to be in, and I think that's a little bit unfair. Unless you put them in the car and you take them somewhere where it is quiet. Sometimes the beaches can be quiet, but then a couple of beaches that we go to, they have 3 or 4 dogs at their location, and if them dogs see another dog on the beach, they just go straight for it also. So yeah, it's very difficult for a dog. It's a dog's life being over here. Yeah, I've seen there's somebody with 3 huskies, put them in the Samlaw. They're all overweight, so being fat also, it you know, hot them, especially with the huskies with the fur on. Yeah, I think it's cruel to have a husky dog in this country, but that's it. Some people have them. Yeah, I've done the same. Sold all my possessions and arrived in Jomtien 2.5 years ago with a suitcase and a rucksack. Just had enough from London. Yeah, that's it. Start from fresh. Everything that I've been here now for 12 years, and I had a suitcase and a rucksack, and everything I've got now, possession-wise, I bought whilst being over here. And that's on my pension, and I can afford to buy on my pension. We bought a car. We bought a motorbike, the Samlaw. We're buying this house, all on 60,000 baht a month. And it can be done. Hi, Les from Pinery Park, Swanson. Yeah, Pinery Park, lovely place. I like Pinery Park. My sister stayed there for 6 weeks while she was here, and she loved it because there was a nice big swimming pool there, just across the road to the beach, and plenty of places to go and eat. Lovely place, Pinery Park. I was looking at it was just grass, and the field was just behind my old house. Trying to reach back for a walk out there was okay. Yeah, yeah. I said my friend takes his dog out for a walk on the rice fields, but he has to drive for 20 minutes on a motorbike in Samlaw with the dog strapped in, and the other dogs are chasing the Samlaw, and the dogs in the Samlaw parking back. So, yeah, it's not good, is it? Right. Okay. Getting on to something else, another subject. Dear to my heart, this one, because I used to do this in my fire brigade career. I used to fit free smoke detectors, people's houses. And the amount of houses here and people here without a smoke detector is, for £10, 555 baht, we bought 3 of them, smoke detectors. And wow, as technology come on from where I used to fit them, these are all Wi-Fi activated. So each one sends a signal to another detector. I've got an app on my phone. It tells me how much battery life there is now, when it's been on, when it's activated, when it's been taken off. 555 baht for 3. And why have I bought 3 new ones? Because I'm fitting some more solar into my house. So I'm putting the batteries inside the house. I'm putting a new inverter inside the house. Now, the inverter is expensive. The batteries are the LivePo batteries. So they are like almost 7,000 baht a piece. So I'm going to have to, so there's 14 and the inverter's 10. So for 3 items is 24,000 baht, which I think is a lot of money. I don't want to put temptation in anybody's way, even though we live in a very, very, very low crime area. I don't want to give anybody any temptation. So I'm putting it inside the house. And because I'm putting it inside the house in my little cupboard, I put another detector on. And whilst I was getting I got 3 of them. If you can't spend £10, 500 or £11 getting 3 smoke detectors, these will save your life if anything happens in your house. I used to fit these every single day in the last 15 years of my fire brigade. They save more lives than anything. You can have 20 more fire engines in each brigade. These were the way to save more lives than the fire engine and the personnel that goes with it. So Lazada, go and get yourself smoke detectors. They're very, very, very cheap. 2 batteries, and it sends you a warning on your app if the battery gets below 40%. Fit the smoke detectors. That's going to save your lives. The Thai electrics is terrible. I was an electrician also in the UK, and the electrical standards over here are far, far below the standards of the UK or America or European standards. For instance, I've got a socket and I put an extension to the socket, and there was 3 cables going into the socket, as there would be, live, neutral and earth. Trouble is, they're all red. The red goes into the live, the red goes into the neutral, and the red goes into the earth. So somewhere in the house somewhere, there's a red cable connected to an earth cable. Dangerous. There's also a red cable connected to the blue cable, which is the neutral cable, which is dangerous. So that's what I'm saying with the electrics. Electrics over here aren't the best. So they are prone to catching fire and things like that. For 10 quid, it's less than a price for a few beers, you know, like 60 or 70 baht for a beer. That's going to save your life. Anyway, that's my little pet subject, talking about smoke detectors. The houses over here don't have smoke detectors. Just get one fitted. It'll save your life. One day, maybe. I'm looking to applying for a 3-month O visa whilst in the UK, then applying for a retirement visa in Thailand. What do you think, Les? Might suit you as well. Yeah, before I used to, well, when I came many years ago, I went to Hull and got a 3-month O visa based on marriage. But that was Hull. But apparently you've got to go to London for that now. So I'm going to see what happens. Although it's a 3-month or 90-day visa, it's actually a 60-day visa. And then for the other 30, you've got to go and extend it to get your 90 days. Yeah, that might be the way for me to go. But I'm going to talk to the horse's mouth on Tuesday, our immigration officer, see what she wants, listen to her direction, see what she says. I've looked at many things online. There's many ways to do it. And even just coming back in on a 60-day exemption tourist visa, as long as you've got 30 days, and I'm still going to put the 40,000 baht into my bank account every month to maintain the income method. And I'll have to start, oh, that hurts. Something just bit me on the arm. And then I can do it that way. But there are many ways to skin a cat over here, and all legal ways of doing it as well. So that's what I'm going to do. Go and see the immigration lady first on Tuesday, see what she has to say. And then if anything goes wrong, I can say, well, this is what you told me to do. And we'll get it in writing. Get everything in writing, then they can't deny it. So, yeah, I'm not worried about it at all. It's an easy thing to do. It's not difficult. We've got all the paperwork almost sorted out anyway, because it was due next month anyway. So, yeah, I'm not worried about it. But, yeah, the 3-month person, when now, if this new visa rule comes in at 60 days, then you've already got 60 days. Anyway, whichever suits you, whichever goes for you, do it that way. When my wife first moved into a new home, one of the small dogs got attacked by 3 big dogs and unfortunately didn't survive. Tired Ridgeback sorted them out, was covered in blood. None of it was his. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that the soy dogs really go into town on any dogs that come into their patch. Yeah, Wi-Fi smoke detectors don't know about this. Yeah, I didn't know. It's only when I looked at for new smoke detectors. I've got the old one with the batteries, with the big square batteries in it, and you just renew the battery every month. And I've seen these Wi-Fi ones, and I got 3. It's 555 baht with delivery from Lazada, and I've got a phone app, and just goes on my phone. And it tells me if the alarm's gone off. So you're on a holiday, it'll tell you if it's gone off, it's bleeping, if the battery's low, because it's Wi-Fi. If one detector goes off, it sends all the other detectors off with it as well. So we've got 3 in our house for a tenner. Oh, well, 11 quid or so, maybe it's 12. Cheap as anything, you know, and it's safe. I'd sooner be safe than not, because again, for 30 years in the fire brigade, I went to many fires, and smoke detectors are going to win all the way. Easy detection. The amount of people said, in fact, I've done a couple of videos about how safe is your house. I mean, we've got, you maybe see them, it looks like Georgian windows, but they're steel bars at the windows. And we have steel bars in our bedroom. So if there was ever a fire in our house, you can't escape from the bedroom at all, because it's got steel bars. So I've got a grinder with a metal cutting blade in the bedroom. So if there ever was a fire in the house and we couldn't get out the door, I can cut the steel bars off from inside the house. And I've been, as a backup in case the electricity went, I've got a hacksaw. So because I was a firefighter, I look at all of these things, you know, and with the layout of our house, you would have to go through the fire room to get outside the house, because the front and the back door, you know, there's no way you could shut the corridor doors and things like that to get out. So that is early detection. So we'll never ever have to use me grinder or me steel cutting hacksaw. Preventive measures, but again, that's because I was a firefighter and I always take preventative measures for everything. Les, do you ever feel rules, regulations in Thailand get you a bit frustrated compared to the ease of living in the UK, or just the cost of living there to avoid other issues? Okay, rules and regulations. No, I find it so simple. And I'll give you some examples. If you were inadvertently, should say, you were driving your car and you forgot to insure your car because it just ran out and you forgot to renew it, or you didn't have the MOT certificate, or you didn't tax it, the car be taken off the road. It'd be impounded. The police would collect it. You get 3 penalty points and you get a big fine, and you wouldn't be allowed to drive your car anywhere. Over here in Thailand, if you get fined driving your car, motorbike or whatever, without your license or without insurance, you'll get a £10 fine and a white piece of paper which covers you for 7 days. And off you go. You drive your car home with a, you know, being told, go and get your car or your motorbike insured. And away you go. If you get caught speeding here, it's a £10 fine. They do have a point system here now, to be fair, which sort of isn't working. But if you get 12 points from the maximum, you only lose your license for a couple of months. But even then, if you were driving around with, you know, excessive points, I've never, ever been stopped. I tell you, I have been stopped by the police twice in 12 years. Twice in 12 years. All the other times are the roadblocks, look at my license, and away you go. But I've only actually been fined twice. One was a rip-off for 1,800 baht, and that was a scam. But that was many, many, many years ago. And the second time I got fined 500 baht because my tax disc had fell off. And it was in the tube at the back of the bike, and it fell off the day before I sold the motorbike. Just unlucky, 10 quid. So, rules and regulations. What else is there? Obeying the rules for the visas. It's not difficult to do. It's quite easy to do. There's a lot of paperwork, but is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. Once you've done the loop and you know how it works, then it's easy to do it again the following. The rules and regulations here are far, far better than living in England. Speeding. I mean, the 20 mile an hour rule. If you drove over 21 miles an hour, you got fined. I know that's been scrapped in some places now. Speed cameras are everywhere. Double parking, traffic wardens everywhere. Parking your car to go do his shopping. all the shopping malls here, you can go shopping for 3 or 4 hours and it's free car parking. I've never ever paid to go shopping anywhere around here. Icon Siam in Bangkok, the biggest, most expensive shopping mall, free parking for 4 hours. Parking in double parking. Okay, it shouldn't be done, but people do it. Parking on double yellow lines shouldn't be done, but people do it. You don't get the bureaucracy over here. You know, the selling food and stuff like that off street vendors. You imagine a street vendor in England trying to sell the chicken. Oh, you can't do that. You haven't got a health and hygiene certificate. You can't do that. You've got to have this insurance. You've got to have that insurance. You've got to have the other insurance. The paperwork and bureaucracy in England is far, far more than it is here in Thailand. So I think it's easier to live here in Thailand than it does in England. You need an O visa to open up a bank account. No, you just need an agent to open up a bank account. An agent can open up a bank account, and that's what I say to people here. And just before this goes up, no, you can't use a joint account for a marriage visa. It has to be solely in your name. And again, to open up a bank account, it's much more difficult to open up a bank account here now because of the Ruskies. The Ruskies are washing the money. And because the Ruskies are washing the money here, they have made it more difficult for people to open a bank account on a tourist visa. So if you use an agent between 4,500 and 5,000 baht, an agent will get it open in a day. But you also need 28 days on your visa to be able to do that. So 4,500, 5,000 baht. There are many people say, "Oh yeah, you can go and open a bank account." It's very, very difficult to do it now. Use an agent, pay the money. It's less than 100 quid, and it's all done and dusted in a day. Ever had any dealings with builders, Les? Gone once building kitchen for the wife, but just left part done. Assume they want to another job. Seems the norm here. Wife gave a rolligan to finish. Yeah, I've had the builders that we've had around. I'm a DIY person, so I can do most of the jobs myself anyway. But there are some jobs where I painted all a fence there. There was 10 panels, and I sat and did that one just there. And it took me a day to scrape all the paint off and get it ready for painting. It took me a day. I had a hat on in the bacon sun. I think, oh, stuff this. And I paid somebody to scrape all the paint off 10 panels and paint it. And it was 3,000 baht, 70 quid. 70 quid, and it took him 10 days. But he didn't do a good job. I'm 85% happy with the work that he's done. But the rust marks are starting to come through now. But I can keep pace with it, with the rust coming through on it now. But there's some building jobs we've had when we had a concrete tank knocked down. They're just playing at it. They're amateurs. They say they know what they're doing, but in reality they don't. So yes, we've had trouble with the builders. The people that we've had, we would not recommend them to anybody else. And if somebody does recommend a builder to you, use them because they'll be good. Because people won't recommend bad builders to you. But there are plenty of people over here say, yeah, I know what to do. I've done it all the time. And they have no idea what they're doing. So yeah, if you get a good builder, good. But nearly everybody's house that I've seen getting built on YouTube, every single one of them have had problems. Very good advice, Les, having experienced 2 house fires. Yeah, thanks very much. You know, it's the way. It's the way forward. You've got to do it. I've seen so many deaths in house fires. People say, "Oh, I'd wake up, smell the smoke," but when you're asleep, your smell senses actually go, so you will not smell the smoke. More people have died in house fires through smoke inhalation, and they've died in the beds and on the sofas. Lipton's tea, 0% sugar. Perfect. Tragically, I'll tell you about one fire that I went to. it was on a New Year's Eve, and the guy that lived in the house was at a party next door. He lived in a detached house, and 3 o'clock in the morning, he went back home, and he noticed all the windows were black. So he called us fire brigade. 3 o'clock in the morning, we turned up. There was no smoke coming from the house whatsoever, no smoke at all. And we thought, it's a false alarm. And then my gaffer said, have you got the key to let us in? And he put the key in the door, and it was like double locked. And he said, my son must have come back. My son, and double latched the door. So then it became a person's report. In other words, somebody was in the house. So when we kicked the front door down, all of this smoke came out of the house. It was unbelievable. And we call it a flashover. And there was that much heat and energy stored in front of this house. We thought it was going to go bang. It took us 5 hours to put the house out. But we rescued the young lad from the house, and he was in the sofa. And it was basically one step in, and you turn right, and you're in the living room. So within 3 minutes of us getting there, we had this young man out. But he died, and he died of smoke inhalation. And because what he did, he went and put the chip pan on in the kitchen, which was 2 rooms away from the living room where he was. He had to go through into the corridor and into the kitchen. So there was no direct access from the kitchen to the living room. The smoke had to build up in the kitchen, come along the living room and the rest of the house, and in the living room. So it had been quite a while. And sadly, he died. He died on the sofa. He fell asleep whilst he put the chips on. And so that's what I'm saying. People who say they'll smell the smoke. Sadly, he died, and it was a bad ending to a New Year's Eve celebration. So smoke can kill you. Smoke will kill you every time. So a smoke detector gives you early warning so you can do something about it. But thanks very much for that. And good to see that you survived 2 fires. Wow. One's bad enough, but having 2 is dreadful. Bring a suitcase full of detectors back with you. They are 25 quid each over here. Wow. Wow, that's expensive. Again, I can still get them free in the fire brigade. I'll just go and see a couple of guys that I know on the fire stations, and I'd get them for free. But for 10 pounds for 3, incredibly cheap. How do I see bees in Thailand, but don't? Oh, there's some big waspies over here. Yes, some big massive bodies with massive stingers. Yeah, I've seen some big. If there weren't wasps, they're very, very angry-looking big bees. And if you get stung by one of them, and I've seen a girl getting stung by one of them, that hurt. She was in very big tears. Wife forgot MOT on the pickup, just got a fine. Worst thing was they were packing up to leave 2 minutes later, and would have been okay. Yeah, when we bought our new car, we had the red plate, and apparently there's a ruling somewhere that you're only allowed to have the red plate for no more than 3 months, 12 weeks. We were 2 weeks over that, and we kept ringing Nissan saying, where's our, it isn't ready yet, it isn't ready yet. So the police fined us 500 baht because we had a red plate. And we said, not our problem. He said, well, don't take it out on me. He said, go and see Nissan. We went to see Nissan, saying we had to pay because of this. Who had to pay? Me. I had to pay. So I didn't do anything wrong. Nissan didn't do anything wrong. The license in place took a little bit longer, but we still had to pay the 500 baht fine for having a plate more than 12 weeks. So there you go. Yeah, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. But it wouldn't have been any more than 500 baht or so. Got clamped here once. Fortunately, your wife's uncle high up in the police, I think she called him, removing it, was apologising when I returned. Yeah, I mean, I've seen that as well, where the padlock a few of the bikes. But again, it's a tenner, and if it's got chained up, it shouldn't be there in the first place. So how many times have you got away with it before they've actually chained it up? That's what I'm saying. it might, 500 baht to us is nothing, but it's a day's wages to a Thai person, more than a day's wages. Yeah, if you want to build a house in Thailand, you need to be on site. Yeah, Paradise in Thailand. There's I've been watching him. He's been getting a house built, and it's by a company, and he's there every day, just about. And he's had problems almost every day. So even getting a proper building company, and you can still have problems. Other thing is, the wife gets me. Oh, where's that one? Oh, it gets me hide when the builders are doing the quote, as they will charge more if they see. Yeah, that's true. That's true. The price goes up if they see a Falang, but that's Thailand, you know. Build a house out of steel and concrete with the electric wiring done correctly, MCBs, RCDs, and there should be no risk of your house burning down. Exactly. Yeah, but I've seen so many people say that they're an electrician and they're not. And I've seen the same guy say, I know how to build a house, and he doesn't, and he's made so many mistakes. Yeah. I mean, I've done a few electrical jobs here. I help people out, should I say, and supervised and monitored, and the Thai electrics, they have scant regard for the dangers of electricity over here. But it is what it is, and yeah, be very careful with the electrics. With the MCBs and the RCDs, yeah, I mean, that's the way. RCBOs on every fuse, that's the gold standard. So then the whole board doesn't click off if there's an electric, but that will cost you a lot of money over here. Still cheaper than what you'd pay in the UK for that, every RCBO. Thank you for your service, Les. Thanks very much for saying so, White Rabbit. I hope it's useful and informative, and I have helped many people out over the past 10 years. Information is good. And if you can listen to all the YouTubers with all the information, and sort the wheat from the chaff out, and then go with the information that you like. But the more information, power is knowledge is power, and if you've got the knowledge and you've got the understanding, then you're gonna have an easy life over here. But I've also met some people who've been over here and think, I know it all. This is how we're going to do it in America, and this is how I'm going to do it over here. And no, quack, quack, oops, it doesn't work like that. Arrogant. I don't like arrogant people, but I've met a few arrogant people who they aren't going to change. Thailand will change, but they are not going to change. And it's them people who struggle over here. The people who argue with the Thai people because they're right and the Thai people are wrong. You've got to bite your tongue over here. Even if you're wrong, sometimes you've got to say, okay, and just forget about what they've said and then alter it once they've gone. It's Thailand when all said and done. You live as the Thais do. New Australian guy took ages building his house. Lead contractor kept going to the missus' house, and the other guys didn't know what they had to do. Ended up going to court over it and won. Yeah, again, probably another guy who said he can build houses because he's seen other people doing it. It's like there's lots of guys who do air conditioning. They might have worked for an air conditioning company once or twice and thinking, and it's easy money, 500 baht to clean an air conditioning unit. You can do half a dozen of them in a day, so it's a good wages. But we had the air conditioning company out coming to have a look at ours, and one of the air conditioning units was leaking. And he said, it wants filling up with gas. So again, translate it to my wife, and I told my wife to tell them, yes, we know. So it's got a leak somewhere. Yeah, well, we've got to fill it up with gas first to see where it's leaking. I said, have you got the equipment to look? No, we'll come back next week. And if it's gone, you've got a leak. I said, well, I know it's leaking because there's no gas in it whatsoever. There's nothing in it because you've just had to fill it up. So why can't you do your checks now? No, we'll come back next week. In other words, he had no idea. But for cleaning an air conditioning unit, it's 500 baht, easy money. Fixing an air conditioning unit is a different ball game. We never got him back. We got another company in, a proper company that we were recommended by somebody else, a proper. It cost us 2,000 baht to get the air conditioning fixed, but he was there for like 4 hours and he found the leak. He changed the pipe. He did everything. He didn't say, I'll fill it with gas and I'll come back next week, see if it's gone. So air conditioning, people, monkey see, monkey do. Same with electrics. Electrics look so easy, and it is easy if you know and you understand it. But anybody can run a piece of wire from there, join it up together. Oh, there you go, it's all working. But it's the right fuses, the right size cable, the whether you put it through trunking, whether you put it over the metal, whether you put it in the ground, protection. There's many considerations. But somebody can see an electrician, oh, I can do that. I'm calling myself an electrician. Anyway. That's why I do everything myself. That's why I'm doing all the solar myself. I'm not a solar expert, but I've watched many videos about it. And I know that the gist of everything with the fusing and the cable sizes and things like that. But I'm still learning with solar, because solar, although it's electrics, it's different. And there's different things to think about with solar as opposed to normal electrics. But I'm enjoying it. But it's on hold at the minute now because of going back to England for a little while. So look, John the accountant, they build houses very different here. Put pylons in the ground. Yeah, the building methods are totally different over here. So that's what I'm saying. Western standards and Thai standards are totally different. Trying to mix them both up, it's very difficult. When do you need a TM30? TM30 is supposed to be done by your landlord, landlady, or hotel from the day that you move in. So every time you go to a hotel, the hotel will fill the TM30 and send it to the immigration department. But when you do your application for your visa, your retirement visa or your marriage visa, your TM30 should have already been filled out and you should have a registered an address. So your TM30 should match up with your registered address. And if it doesn't, it's no big deal. You can go to the immigration department and you can fill it all out if you're living there. But then you need your proof of residence, that you are living at this place. The landlord or landlady will have to fill out a lease agreement and things like that. So you need to get all them ducks in a row before you go do your retirement visa. That your TM30 has been done. I know a couple of people who run guest houses. They don't fill any TM30s out, and it's come to bite them a couple of times. The immigration department have been around the house and said, if you don't, the guest house is run by a foreigner and his wife. She doesn't want to do it and he can't do it. So they're being told off twice now by immigration, saying the next time we come around here for not you filling the TM30, we're going to fine you. And it's going to be 5,000 baht for every TM30 you haven't filled out. So, and they still don't do it now. And the last time immigration was there was maybe 2 years or so ago now. But it does cause problems because now they've got a long-term guest who wants to get a motorbike license. So he needs his TM30 and he has to show his residence where he's been stayed. So now they have to backdate the TM30 for a year. He's almost lived there a year now. So that's going to cause him a few problems. And on it goes. Another thing with Thailand, but sometimes it's the landlord or landladies that would get fined. But sometimes they can fine you for not having a TM30, even though it's not your fault, it's not your problem, it's theirs. but somehow, some way, they're going to get their little bit of tea money, and you may be the one who has to pay for it. So, any more questions there? 2 hours and 19 minutes we've been going, and I've never stopped. And as long as the questions keep coming, I'll keep on answering them. So, has anybody got any questions that they want to know? We've got 69 people in the house, which is good. No questions? Oh, okay. Quiet touch, quiet spell. So, okay, let's go on about insurance again for those people who have just joined us. Maybe it's a little bit late. I've got medical insurance, and I've just renewed it this year, and I'm 64-year-old with a pre-existing condition of rheumatoid arthritis, and my cost for insurance this year is just under 25,000 baht for 700,000 bahts worth of cover. And anybody that wants medical insurance, I've got a link below in the description with Loic. He's one of the reps that I interviewed for Pacific Cross, and he will give you a bespoke price for your medical insurance. And if you've got any pre-existing conditions, you talk about that, and you can, after a certain amount of time, get some of the pre-existing conditions taken off the pre-existing conditions. For instance, if you haven't suffered anything from it, like my rheumatoid arthritis, because I've never claimed against it whilst I've been on the 10 years of insurance, I could get that taken off. But as I've never suffered from it, I've never really bothered with doing that, because you'd have to go for a test to see whether you've got rheumatoid arthritis or not. I just think I can't be bothered with doing the extra paperwork for it. So again, Loic, it's Retired and Living the Dream at Thailand's Pacific Cross Health. It's a big long email. They put the link, so it goes direct to Loic, and he has a team of guys that will contact you and give you a bespoke price plan for it, which is very good. And I would suggest that anybody has medical insurance whilst they're over here, if you can. And for those people that can't afford the medical insurance, if you've got your 800,000 baht for your retirement visa, that will also act as your emergency fund for any medical treatment that's required. And that's important, because let's face it, none of us know what the future holds for illnesses or accidents and things like that. And it's always best to have a little bit of money stacked away in case you need the medical treatment. I mean, like, Steady Eddie, he collapsed one day and he thought it was a stroke, and he's ended up in a more serious situation in intensive care in a hospital. Thankfully, he had the insurance to cover him. So insurance is a big thing over here. Go to the public hospitals, and by going to the public hospitals, it actually, will save a lot of money. Okay, everything's gone quiet on me. Oh, there we go. How much does it cost for a retirement visa? A retirement visa is very cheap, 1,900 baht. So if you use an agent, now agents can wave their magic wands and get you a retirement visa. The most I've heard somebody's actually spoke to me paid 69,000 baht for a retirement visa, and the cheapest is 25,000 baht, and it's exactly the same visa, but one agent 69, one agent 25, and the result is exactly the same. The visa, you get the retirement visa. Now, if you do all of it yourself, now it's not very difficult. And although I send people to agents because they want an agent to do all the paperwork, which isn't very difficult anyway, but some people don't want all of that hassle, is that the agent that I send people to is 25,000 baht. And anybody who wants a link to that, just send me an email. I'll give you my email here, and I can direct you to Leslie Pearson 58 at yahoo.com. So that's my email address, lesliepearson58 at yahoo.com. Send me an email and I'll tell you the agent that I send people to. And he does it 25,000, and if you want a bank account open, I think it's 29,000. He also does motorbike licenses as well, so he can get your motorbike license sorted out. You can also open up your bank account. So he does it all really, and he's trustworthy and reliable. And by doing that, you can do it all yourself. And there are methods that I tell people, and my suggestions. And if you do what I suggest, then it'll cost you 1,900 baht for your retirement visa without using an agent. And it is possible to do it. There are ways and means of doing it where you don't need to use an agent, and you don't have to have the 800,000 baht in the bank. For me, the 800,000 baht in the bank is, unless you can't afford medical insurance and stuff like that, it's just you're tying up almost £20,000, and it's just sat in the bank. Gains a little bit of interest, but next to nothing. And for me, why leave that? Because you're only insured in the banks in England up to 1 million baht, and if you've got 800,000 baht in the bank as a deposit for your retirement visa, you're not far off the 1 million baht. So anything over 1 million baht, if anything went wrong with the bank, not that I'm going to say it's going to happen, but then you're only insured for that first million. So, and it's the same with the marriage visa. A marriage visa is only 1,900 baht as well. So it's not expensive. That is just the normal visa. Then there's the visas, the OA visa. If you have the OA visa, which you apply for outside of Thailand, then you have to have medical insurance, which has been dropped now from 3 million baht down to 400,000, which is a huge, huge drop, because people weren't taking the medical insurance out, so they weren't applying for the OA visa. Then there's also the re-entry visa or re-entry permit. So if it's just a single re-entry, it's 1,000 baht. If it's a multi-re-entry, in other words, you can go in and out of Thailand as many times as you want without losing your visa within that first year, then that's 4,000 baht. But I would say just get a single re-entry visa when you want to leave the country. And unless you're going to leave more than 4 times, I wouldn't even bother with a multi-re-entry visa. But the agents will try to get you to pay the extra for the multi-entry visa, because they get a little bit of extra money for that as well. Some visa agents say they'll do the 90-day reporting for you, which it sounds good, doesn't it? That they will do all the 90-day reporting and you don't have to worry about it, and then you go and see them again in a year's time. But I think the 90-day reporting is probably the most important part of it, because if they cock up with a 90-day reporting and they miss you out for some reason, administration error, it's you that has to pay, not them. And then you could be on an overstay because of if they cock it up. So I would suggest do your own 90 days. Even if they offer you to do the 90 days, I would suggest do the 90 days yourself. Then you know you've done it yourself. And if you do it online, it's 5 minutes to do it. Fill all the paperwork out online, and within 48 hours, you get a ticket back, and that's printed, and you can see the paper, and you know in 90 days' time, you've got to do it all again. And if you do the 90 days online, they actually send you an email 2 weeks before it's due. So it gives you plenty of time to be able to do it. And remember, if you leave the country for whatever reason, your 90 days starts again the day you get back into Thailand. So it's not 90 days. It's like I'm going out of the country for a couple of months or so. I don't have to do my 90 days whilst I'm away. My 90 days starts again, because there's a stamp in your passport to say when you come back in. So your 90 days starts from that date you come back into the country. Sounds complicated, doesn't it? But it isn't. It's fairly easy, really. Once you get the swing of things over here, it's not difficult at all to do. Do you find the warmer climate helps your arthritis? I've heard this mentioned before, and other people that suffer from arthritis, that the warmer climate, yeah, I would say it is. But saying that, I got rheumatoid arthritis here, and it was 11 years ago now when I got it. And I went back to England, and I had a private doctor look at it because the pain was horrendous. And I've got to say, touch wood, since I come back from England, I've been in remission of it. It comes back every now and then to remind me that it's still there, but not to the extent that it did 11 years ago. And but yeah, I've got to say, the sun, the warmth, the blue skies, the feeling of well-being helps you health-wise, makes you feel better anyway. So yeah, living in this type of climate and feel-good factors is very, very good anyway. So yeah, it does. It certainly helps me anyway. I feel it does. You recommend to start the OA visa once you get into Thailand for the first 2 or 3 days? No, the OA visa is, you can only apply for the OA visa outside of Thailand. You can apply for the O visa once you get into Thailand within the first 2 or 3. You've got to get your retirement visa, you need at least 28 days on your visa, on your exemption visa. But if they're going to give you 60 days, that just gives you more time to play around with. But if you just come in and it is still only 30 days, pardon me, you can apply for an extension of your 30-day visa within 3 or 4 2 or 3 days, 2 3 days, 3 or 4 days. Then that gives you an extra 30 days. So then you've got more than enough time to play around with, because you need at least 28 days on your visa to apply for a bank account, and you need 28 days to apply for the visa. And then if you get an agent to do that, and he does all the paperwork for you, he'll take your passport, and you won't have a passport for about 5 weeks because of what they do. And then you'll have a 15-month window. So it's a 3-month O visa that you've got, and then you'll have your retirement visa. So altogether, you get a 15-month visa if you do it through an agent. But they will take your passport away from you for 5 or 6 weeks or so. So it's important that you have a copy of your passport, and you also have enough money. So, because if you go to the exchange place, then you need to be able to get some money out, and you need to use a passport to be able to draw money out. Whereas if you've already opened the bank account up, you'll have a stash of money in the bank account. So that's what I'm saying. There's swings and roundabouts for everything, but it is possible for you to be able to do it. But yeah, 28 days on your visa to be able to do bank accounts and visas. So yeah, OA visa is totally applied for outside of Thailand. The O visa is inside Thailand. A lot of people live in Thailand for their health arthritis. Yeah, it helps everything. Really. You just feel better in yourself. Imagine sat in England from October till April, dull, wet, drab, grey skies. You know, nobody feels healthy under them conditions. Yeah, an agent is easy done, but you pay for it also. But if you've got the time to do it yourself, and then you know it's done. But you can do everything without an agent, that is for sure. Even if you don't have the 800,000 baht in the bank, you can do everything without an agent, and it is possible, and you'll save yourself a fortune, and it's more legal than using an agent. Not saying that using an agent is illegal, because they have their methods, and they can do it, and they can fix all sorts of problems. Les, how long have you lived in Rayong, and have you experienced any major flooding? Looking to retire there in the next couple of years. I've lived in Rayong for 10 years, and we're surrounded by lakes. Our house is called Lakeview, and we've got about 4 or 5 lakes all the way around us, and we've never had any flooding where we are. Rayong, there's been a little bit of flooding in various places, but the rainy season, boy, when it rains here, it doesn't half rain. We had 3 days of heavy rain here, and our front road over here, there was a couple of inches of water on it. Nothing, no big shakes. It didn't stop us from doing the things that we want to go and do. So Rayong, there's areas that do flood and there's areas that don't. But it's not as bad as Pattaya or Bangkok, the flooding here. Centre of Rayong, there are a couple of areas that flooded and quite regularly flood. But on the whole, where we live, no, I can't say flooding has ever really bothered us here. How big is the re-entry permit physically? Just thinking about the space it takes up on the passport. Yeah, it takes up a full page. The re-entry takes a full. I've got, when I go back to England, I've got 4 pages left on my passport, and I've got 2 years before it runs out. So I'm going to go renew my passport, because when I get me pension, my state pension in 2 years' time, that's when we're going to do a lot more traveling, so I'll need a lot more pages. So when I go back to the UK, that's one of my first jobs within the first month is renew my passport, because I've only got 4 pages left. And when I go out of Thailand, they're going to stamp that, which takes a page, and then they're going to give me a re-entry permit, which takes another page. So then that only leaves me with possibly 2 or 3 pages left. So yeah, they like the stamps over here, and they don't like putting another stamp in on a page that's already got a stamp on it. So basically, every time you go in and out, it's a full page, if not 2. Les Ed Sweeney ICU room was costing him 100,000 with meds a day. Ed was luckily he had travel insurance, not health. His PC insurance paperwork easy to complete. Do they need all medical history? Pacific Cross. You've got to be truthful with them. You've got to be truthful. If you've got any pre-existing conditions and that, tell them, because they have the right to contact your health authority back in the UK. For instance, if you had a stroke or if you had a heart attack or something like that, and if it was a pre-existing condition, being in hospital at the mercy of, the bureaucrats, the pen pushers who are gonna, if it was $1 million to do an operation or something like that, they're going to check, because they don't want to be spending out $1 million if there was something up with you that you haven't said. It's best to be honest with them, because the time to worry about it is in the hospital when they're looking at everything. Be totally honest and transparent with them. If you've had anything, okay, there might be pre-existing conditions, pre-existing things that they won't pay for, but then you know where you're splodging, then you know what's going to happen with you. The time not to worry about it is if you suffer something like that in the hospital thing, and I hope they don't find out, because they will, and they can find out, because let's face it, for some illnesses, they know if you've suffered from anything before. The medical people are very, very clever people. So open, honest, transparent with them, let them know what it is, and just go from there. If you try to cheat the system, it might come back and bite you in the bum. Nothing might happen to you for 4 or 5 years, but when something does happen, you've wasted all them premiums. You've been insured for them just to turn around and say, no, you're not insured. Open, honest, transparent with them, and it is what it is. I was told it was 80,000 baht a day plus meds or whatever. But even then, that was negotiated down with the insurance company to 30 to 35,000 baht a day. So it can still be negotiated there. Don't go to the most expensive hospital. For me, when Nick says this was the expensive hospital, and he had maybe it's a week's worth of growth on his beard and greasy hair. And I'm thinking, why haven't they taken care of him? 80,000 baht a day. He should be in a suit. 80,000 baht a day. He should be better looked at than having a growth of beard, looking dishevelled. Because it makes you, if you look in the mirror, it makes you look ill because you are ill. No, I don't think for what he was paying, it was value for money. And it showed that when they negotiated it down, still in the ICU, from 80,000 down to 35,000. That's a big, big drop. And especially when they were asking Nick to find somebody to look after him by putting him in a private room. They need somebody else in there with him for 24 hours a day. Wow. And this was in the best hospital. It just didn't ring true for me for what was going on in there. I wouldn't be happy paying 80,000 baht a day and like, oh, can you find somebody to go in a room with him for 24 hours a day? They were even asking Nick to stay there with him so they could put him into a private room. Nick said, I can't stop here 24 hours a day. Yeah. Best hospital. Stay in the public hospital. Much, much cheaper. Thanks for the clarification, Les. No problems. Got my passport renewed by an agency. Saves having to go to the embassy in Bangkok, which is miles from me. Same as me. If I needed to go and renew my passport, I'd have to go to Bangkok. I don't know how much it costs an agent to do that. But as I'm going back to England anyway, next month, I'll do it myself. If a re-entry permit takes up a page each time, a multi-entry might be better, although it costs more. It depends how many times you go out, doesn't it? It depends how many times you go out and in. I mean, for me, if you're out more than 4 times a year, then it's worth getting the multi-entry visa. But you have to be out 4 times a year because it's 4,000 for the multi-entry, 1,000 each. So, yeah. I don't intend going out more than 3 or 4 times a year. Once or twice a year is enough for me when I get my pension. That's when we're going to start traveling a lot more. Thanks for the information. I have found it very useful and I'm hoping to retire there in the next couple of years. Hope so, Brian. It's well worth the effort to retire over here. Peace of mind, happiness, happy people, happy lifestyle. I can't sing its praises. And if you do come over here, you're more than welcome to come and join me on the sofa for a cup of coffee. Let's put the world to rights. Hi, Les. Will they make it easier to live in? It's easy now to live in Thailand. It can't be really much easier. I mean, what do you think is the most difficult thing to live here in Thailand? Because for me, there's nothing too difficult to do to live here in Thailand. It's easy peasy. It's not difficult at all. I can't see how they can make it much easier. I want to do the bank account and retirement application myself. Like to use the monthly 65,000 baht a month rather than the 800,000 baht lump sum in 1 year. That's sort of a chicken and egg thing. You can't open a bank account unless you got a visa, and you can't get a visa unless you open a bank account. I think, although it is possible, and I have heard 1 or 2 people who did open their own bank account, but it was very, very difficult to do, especially on the income method. If you've got 800,000 or 1 million baht to put in the bank, it's much, much easier to open a bank account. If you don't have that amount of money to open a bank account, it is much, much more difficult to do. So best wishes and best luck for you to be able to do that. You can do your visa yourself, but I would say get an agent to open up a bank account. A bank account is, say, 4,500 to 5,000 baht. To get them, the visa agent that I send people to, is 29,000 baht to do that. And the visa itself is 2,000. So that's 27,000 baht in total. That's how much you're going to save by being able to do it yourself. If you get them to open up a bank account for you, then you'll save a little bit more. So it swings and roundabouts really, but best of wishes trying to do it yourself. out of the years and years I've talked to many, many people, it is difficult to do it yourself. And even more so now without a bank account. If you've got a bank account, it is easier, because then you only need to shove 65,000 baht in a bank account on 2 consecutive months on your first application. Then that shows that you've got an income method. But that's only on your first application. If you've had a retirement visa with 800,000 and you've dipped into that and you've gone below the 400,000, if you can show that you've had 65,000 baht in that bank account for a year, then you can apply for it again. But if you don't have 65,000 baht coming into your account every month for 12 months, you will not get it on that method, the income method. That's what I'm saying. There's so many pitfalls that you can have. So if you do want to go on the income method, put 65,000 baht into your bank account every month for a year, then you can withdraw the 800,000 and go on the income method. But if you haven't done it that way, it can be difficult. But again, immigration office, just tell them, go be upfront with them and say, listen, I need to use the 800,000. Can I do the income method? Can I start? And as long as you've got their green light to go and do it, then you can go and do it. The immigration office are there to help you, not to hinder. They're there to help. Although a lot of people say it's a hinder, and they can put obstacles in your way, but it's never too difficult to overcome. So anyway, good luck, Billy Bob, but it's going to be difficult. My pelvis has been playing up and was told by the medical place here might need a hip replacement. Wonder if I could get it done if I get health insurance and keep it. No, because you've already been to the hospital and they said you need a hip replacement. It's already on record now. Every time you go to the hospital, there's a record kept. So keeping it quiet isn't going to be any help, because if then they say, yeah, you want a hip replacement, oh, you've been to the hospital before, they've already told you you've got you need a hip replacement. So insurance is never going to cover it. Hi mate, just tuned in. I've been playing old man footy in Bangkok. Great and very enjoyable. I hope you and the missus are okay. Yes, everything's okay. Football and this heat and wow. That's enough to give anybody a stroke, running around, kicking a bag of wind around, unless it was, of course, an air-conditioned playing field or indoor area. Was lucky to get a bank account opened about 3 years ago. All depends on the bank. Some just don't want to entertain you, but now believe it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot harder. And that's all because of the Ruskies with laundering their money. Okay. So, yeah, it's a couple of people have asked me whether you can get your pension paid direct to here, because in England, if you've got a bank account, then it needs to be registered. You need to have a UK address to have a UK bank account. So I use my sister's address as a contact with Barclays Bank, and so because I've still got my sister's address, they're okay with the bank details. But there's a couple of people have asked me whether you can get your pension paid direct, and yes, you can get your pension paid direct to any bank anywhere in the world, your state pension. But obviously, the fees are going to be a lot higher, going from the tax and revenue people getting it sent over to here. Whereas at the minute, I get my money sent from the bank, Barclays Bank, through Wise over to Bangkok Bank. And for 60,000 baht, I pay just over a tenner to get the money sent over. Now, if I got the bank to send it direct, it'd be a lot more than £10. So that's what I'm saying. If you can get your pension paid over here, but it's like everything else, it's going to cost you a little bit more money. But that's the price of living over here. But it's still not prohibitively expensive, is it? It's not like 50 or 60 pounds a go. It's like some people still draw the money out through the ATMs. Now, drawing your money out through the ATM, it's almost a fiver for every time you draw money out of the ATMs. Now, that's an expensive way of drawing your money out, rather than paying the amount of money to open a bank account and then transferring the money over to your bank account. Wise, I tell people to use Wise, because that's probably the most cheapest way of doing it than like even doing a bank transfer. 2 days of footy outside, playing about 16-20-minute games. Bloody hot, but been doing it for the past 12 years, so used to it. Oh, well, good for you. Good for you. I was never good at football. Would it be easy if you had a joint account with the Thai wife? No, because if you are applying for your retirement visa or marriage visa, you need to have an account just in your name, and that's one of the stipulations, that for any visa you need to have your own bank account in your own name. So that can be some problems, can't it? It's not difficult, but it is the Thai way. And if the Thai way want it that way, that's the way you play it. They're not putting obstacles in your way. It's just their way. It's what they want. And it's like, we find it maybe difficult and bureaucratic. Anyway, paperwork. The paperwork might not understanding to us, but you imagine you ask anybody that's took the Thai wives or Thai girlfriends to go live in England, the paperwork is horrendous and it's very, very expensive to do so also. So the paperwork for me over here isn't difficult to do. Like our immigration office, she always asks for a little bit more every year, but we sort of pre-plan. There is nothing that she can ask for that's impossible. I'll give her an example. One year she said, we did all the paperwork that they asked for and the extra that they asked for the year before. And we thought there's nothing else she can ask for. Now we've given her everything. And we pay our electricity bill to the landlady. The landlady has a standing order, and it just goes out of her account. So she looked at it and she said, I want to see the electricity bill. And I told my wife to tell her, I said, we don't have electricity bill. The landlady pays it. She said, I want to see that electricity is being used at the house that you say you're renting at. So fortunately, we still get the bin. The guy comes around, reads the meter every month, gives us the bin, and we pay the landlady because she pays it direct. So we had to come home, 45 minutes to drive home, 45 minutes to drive back to show them the copy of the electricity bill. It was just time consuming, that's all, but it wasn't impossible. We could have got a statement from the landlady if we didn't get the bin. But that's what I'm saying. Now we always have a photocopy of the electricity bill every year when we go back. So she can't ask for that again. So hopefully this year is going to be a different scenario, because I'll be back in the UK when our visa's up for renewal. But that's just another video I'll have to do. What happens if you leave the country and you can't do your marriage visa? Is it going to be impossible? No, because I'm still going to carry on paying the 40,000 baht into my bank account, because I still need to pay for the house. I still need to give my wife some money to live on. So I'll still be putting about 50,000 baht into my bank account. So that's the continuation of the 40,000 baht a month what you need on the marriage visa. Malcolm Jackson, your state pension is frozen from when you first claim it. Yep, 100% correct. And as I don't claim it for another 2 years, I'll be okay. But I've also done a video with a workaround to that also. That would be interesting for you to watch if you haven't watched it. And you can actually claim for for the payments to be made to your frozen pension And I give an example as for instance, if you moved here in 2019, so your pension hasn't gone up with inflation or whatever over the past 4 years, so your pension has risen 24%. And there's a workaround where if you live in a reciprocal country for 185 days, you can claim all your pension that has been taken or that has been frozen from the minute you step foot into that country. And if you're in that country for 185 days within the financial year, April the 6th or April the 5th, then you can claim for all of them increases, and they will pay from the first day. And if you stay in that reciprocal country for 185 days, you get that new payment for the rest of your life. And that's been proved. And I've got the information from the horse's mouth, and I did the video, and several people from Thailand have gone over to the Philippines, and it has been so, and it's been correct. And I've been proved 100% correct in the information I give. And I always try to give accurate information, and it's proved that you can do it. So, for instance, a 24% pay rise equates to about £270 a month extra for the rest of your life. 270 quid a month. So over a 10-year period, £27,000 extra if you didn't, more than if you didn't do the reciprocal country. And okay, you've got to pay a little bit up front, but at the end of the day, £27,000, if it costs you £6,000 to do it for the 185 days, which isn't going to cost you that amount of money, you're still £21,000 better off in 10 years' time than giving it to the government. So again, have a look at my workaround with that, and you'll see how it works. It's not difficult. In fact, there's a couple of people that I know personally who are going to do it next year. When we come over, we always bring hard cash change at the London Pops. Yeah, again, if you come to Pattaya, they have the yellow exchange booths. You get a better rate there than you do from the banks. I just started using Wise. It's great. I get a monthly salary from Holland euros. Wise saved me about 3,500. Yeah, again, Wise is a fantastic. I use Wise to send it over, and if anybody uses my recycle method, which is another good method, if you don't need to spend 65,000, you can send it back to your home country, and that's D-money. D-money sends it back to your majority of home countries that people are living. And by doing that, you can use the recycle method, so you don't need to you don't need to have 65,000 baht a month every month in your bank account. So that's another way, the recycle method. But Wise is very good for bringing it over here, and if you have to send money back to your home country, D-money, but you have to go down to Bangkok and in person to open up a D-money account, and that's almost the same rate as Wise for sending your money back to your home country. If you change it at the booth and put it in the bank, then that's an internal payment. And if you want to get a retirement visa, it has to show that it's a transaction from overseas, a foreign transfer. But per se, if you exchange it with Wise, you can get a Wise card as well, where it's like a preloaded debit card, so you can actually use the Wise card at various outlets and pay for it through your Wise card, and it's already in your Thai currency. So Wise is very, very, very good. I'm currently using the 800k in the bank method for my retirement visa, but once I get my pension, I will use the income method. But the pension is paid quarterly and not monthly. Will this be a problem? Yes, it will be a problem. It has to be there monthly. I made one mistake a few years ago. Well, before I got my marriage visa, it was me second year of my marriage visa. We went to Chiang Mai for a holiday, and I get paid every month. But in December, we get paid twice in December because of the holiday period. So I wanted a little bit of extra money New Year's Eve. So I drew my January salary out 3 days before the end of December. So we had some extra money. And on paper, they looked upon it and they said, you didn't get paid in January. I said, yes, it did. I said, I got paid but I drew it out in December. No, nothing went into your bank account in January. So I showed them all the paperwork. I said, listen, I got paid twice in December. I drew the extra money. And they says, no, you can't do that. So I had to start the whole process again because I didn't have 12 monthly I didn't have 12 monthly incomes. In 1 month, I had 2. Now, a few years ago, that was still okay because then they used the income, not the income method, the combination method, where you could have 400,000 baht in the bank, and then you can have the other 400,000, whether it's in 1 month, 3 months, 4 months. So that was a combination method. They've stopped that now, so you can't have a combination method. So it's either 800,000 baht in the bank, 800,000 baht in the bank, or 65,000 baht a month, one or the other. It can be a combination of both. So yeah, good luck with that. You know, you just need to make sure it's in the bank every month. Hello, Les. Listening to what you're saying sounds like you're going to be coming to the UK for an extended amount of time. Yeah, a couple of months, I reckon. It might be 3 months, depending on my sister's condition, really. But certainly for a couple of months, I'm looking to come back halfway through September. So I'm sort of, yeah, I'm not looking forward to coming back to England. It's only because my sister's ill. I'm coming back. But whilst I'm there, I'm going to do many things, see lots of people, do lots of things. And at least I'm coming back this time in the summer. The last twice I've been, it's been during the winter period, which is an awful time. And I've been cold and I haven't liked it. And it's been cold, wet and miserable. At least July, August, September should be the best months of the year. Fingers crossed. I'll see how many rainy days we get in that amount of time. I'll actually do it on purpose and I'll just tick off how many cloudy days we've had. Yeah, so anybody that wants to come for a meetup or face-to-face chat in England, I'm up for that. I live in Redcar, which is the northeast coast of England, and Wetherspoons, which is a good location for good food and refillable coffees at 179 a coffee. Why are you going back to Smoggyland, mate? I'm going back because my sister's ill. So I try not to go. I don't want to go back to England, but it's because my sister's not feeling very well. And I'm going back to spend some time with my sister. And but otherwise, if it wasn't because my sister was ill, I wouldn't be going back. Family is important, and it's for family reasons why I'm going back. But whilst I'm there, I'm going to do a lot of vlogs and videos and cost analysis and things like that, comparisons as to for some people, Thailand isn't for everybody. So some people want to go back to the UK or wherever, or America or Australia, wherever. And it's about, can you afford to go back? And could I afford to go back? I know the answer before I even go back there. On £1,400 a month, I can't afford to live in England. So, but I'll show that in the video, and I'll show the comparison as to if I wanted this lifestyle in England, in some of the places that I want to live, and I live in the northeast, which is a cheap part of England anyway, it's even unaffordable for me to live in a country semi-rural location. I'd be paying £1,400 a month just to rent somewhere without anything else. Brian, well, thanks for the information. I found it very helpful. I need to go ready for work now. Okay, that 4-letter word, work, W-O-R-K. Yeah. Okay, thanks very much for tuning in, Brian. Have a good day at work. Enjoy yourself. Thanks very much. Sam should have gone to France and come over. Yeah, if I had any health problems, I'd come across on a dinghy, and you just get everything. Just say you can't speak English. I wonder if Ed Sweeney will be able to continue with the channel. I think Ed's traveling days are numbered. It's going to take him a long time to recover from what he has. And I don't think he'll ever have the confidence to do what he was doing before he fell ill. Because, you know, he liked his ale and he liked his traveling around. And I don't think he could go back to that type of lifestyle under the conditions that he's had, because, well, you have to be physically fit really to travel around and, you know, jump around like he's been doing, going from one place. It is sort of stressful in one way, living out of a suitcase, but it's enjoyable and it's good. But I think with the condition that he's got, it's going to take a long time before he recovers. But fingers crossed for the lad. I hope he gets better soon, and I doubt very much he'll be 100% back to normal, but hopefully he gets back to as normal as he can be. Okay, Les, thanks. You need to take care of your family. Hope your sister gets better. Thanks very much. I hope so too. Just getting a visa for my wife to come for 6 months was a nightmare. Getting citizenship must have been a nightmare. Yeah, exactly. As I say, it's the paperwork is a nightmare no matter which country you're in. Do you see many scorpions in your area? Yes, I've seen quite a few scorpions, and now when it's rainy season, they don't like the water either. So this year I haven't seen any, but last year I've seen about half a dozen. For a big size 9 flip-flop, it puts them out of their misery, and it stops them from stinging me as well. Again, scorpions, no, don't like scorpions. Creepy crawlies, size 9 or 10 flip-flop sends them to a better place. Again, we've got brush strips along the bottom of the doors and things like that, so no creepy crawlies can crawl into our house anymore. And yeah, preventative measures. The wife's scared of any creepy crawlies. She's scared of geckos. She's scared of the cockroaches. She'll stand on the chair if she sees a scorpion, that's for sure. So it's Les saving her life all the time with creepy crawlies. And I forget that it's like it's got hundreds of legs. I forget the name of it, but they can give a nasty, painful bite. So if you don't walk on the grass barefoot here, you always have shoes or flip-flops on, because if one of them bites you, I think it's a centipede. No, not a centipede. It's something. It looks a bit like a centipede, but if it bites you, it hurts. Ed's insurance would be sky high if he ever trapped. Yeah, I would imagine he's uninsurable now, or there'd be certain conditions put on his insurance. It's like everything else, you know. Once you've had a big claim. Well, can I say, with Pacific Cross, who I'm with, you know, if you had insurance for Pacific Cross and you had a big claim, like 2 or 3 or 4 million baht, your premium for the following year would only go up a maximum of 25% if you had a massive big claim. They cannot refuse to insure you once you've got insurance with them. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's important to get insurance out at an early age. If you get insurance out at an early age, then you're covered. And my insurance goes on until I'm 99. Okay, the premiums go up every 3 or 4 years with them age gaps type of thing. But I've had my insurance now for 10 years. And my insurance premium is 25, just under 25,000 baht for 700,000 bahts worth of cover. It's not a lot to cover, but it's better than nothing at all. I can find 25,000, but I can't find 700,000. So that's what I'm saying. You know, take out medical insurance, get it as early as you can, and the earlier you get it, the cheaper it is, and then you're just covered for sort of every eventuality. That's all as well, and sorry to hear about your sister, Hope. Yeah, well, yeah, it's not good, but hopefully, she's going to get early treatment, so if she gets early treatment, it should help. For the above question, I'm 50 and was hoping to wait until 55, but thinking if the opportunity arises, I'll make the move sooner. I work in engineering and mechanical engineer. Yeah, I retired at 50. Thankfully, the job that I was in, I could retire at 50, and I did it. I retired on my 50th birthday, and I've never looked back. Retire as soon as you can, for as long as you can, and do whatever you can whilst you're okay, because 60-year-old, you can't do the things at 60 that you could do at 50 or even 55. And even at 55, you've got more years behind you than you have in front of you. And that's one of my favorite sayings. The older you get, you've got more years behind you than you have left in front of you. And the years that you have left in front of you, you're going to be coping with, you're not going to be healthy for the whole of your life. Ailments, aches and pains are always going to come, which stop you from doing the things that you can do. You don't need a load of money to live a happy lifestyle. Enough. You can live here on your pension of £800 a month. And I've proved and I've shown people that you can live on. And I know people who live on the state pension, £800 a month. £800 a month here will give you a happier, better life than £800 a month in the UK. 100% guaranteed. So that's what I'm saying. You don't need a lot to retire on. You just need to be careful with the money that you got and don't lose it. And there are things that you can do here to safeguard any investments or anything that you buy or rent, or don't lose your money. There's ways and means of doing it, put it like that. Lizards are the ones for me. Get in the house, only good thing, shows no snakes about. Yeah, we have a couple of lizards live underneath that sofa there. And they keep crawling underneath the cushions. So every time I'm not sat on the sofa for a while, I'll lift the cushions up and they sat underneath. I sat down on one and squashed one day because, I'm a big guy. So I always look underneath the cushions. The wife's scared of them, but they know we don't do any harm to them. We just shoo them off and away they go. They'll go and scurry underneath the sofa. But geckos are everywhere here, in the house, around the house, and but that's all the part about living here. Hi, Tony Montana. Are you enjoying living in Thailand? Millipede. Yeah, millipede. Yeah, that might be it. Yeah, millipede or centipede. That's the one. Yeah, millipede. Horrible things. Finally catching the live. Okay, welcome. Thanks for joining us. 3 hours and 12 minutes in. 3 hours and over 3 hours again. I think 3 hours 45 minutes was the longest I've ever done it. What time is it now? It's almost 6:05. So I started at 2:45, and I'm still talking. And as long as people have got questions here, or until the wife comes, then I'll carry on talking. We've still got 77 people in the house, which is good. It's been a constant over 60 people up to a maximum of just under 100, I think, this time. A few months ago, you talked about getting a group together for health insurance purposes. Any progress on that? I believe there's a few, but 30 is the magic number. Then you've got a group. And I think what's happened, I don't know how many people have joined. I'll have to email Loic and ask him. But I think what's happened is that if people have already got insurance, it's easy enough to renew it with the agent that they've got rather than starting it all over again and going through the process. So whether we truthfully and honestly and being upfront, Whether we get 30 or not, I don't really know. But we've certainly got a few that I know, but I know it isn't for 30, that's for sure. But again, it's like you know, if you've got insurance and you want to move to 30, it takes people to move to him to start getting that 30 up. And your insurance might not be due this month. It might be due in another 2 months' time. Then in 2 months' time, you might, oh, I'm not going to do with that. I'll just go with the same insurance agent. So, and to get 30 people started up from day one is always going to be a hard call. But I put his details on my account. And as I say, if I get 30, then everybody benefits from it. But if I don't get 30, then you're still going to get insurance. It might be cheaper than your previous agent, depends how good you are at negotiating. But it's certainly worthwhile contacting him and asking him about the details of it anyway, whether you move or whether you don't. But I don't know how many, it's been going for a year now. I don't know how many people, in honesty, how many we've got, because the emails go to him and he sends me details of anybody that's joined. I think we've got about 7 or 8 people at the minute. So we're still a long way off 30. So, but thanks very much for asking. And, you know, his details are in the description. So at least just give him a call and ask him. And he might be, even with Pacific Cross, he might be able to do a better deal than your other agent. I don't know. But if you don't ask, you don't know, do you? But thanks very much for asking for that anyway. Same as you, Les, has a good final salary pension and retired at 56. Seen good rises in the past few years. Yeah, we've been very lucky, you know, but we've also paid into the system as well, you know. We're lucky with the pension that we've got. But when I joined the fire brigade at 19, I had no idea. Pension. You're an old man when you get a pension. 50-year-old. Then next thing, 50-year-old knocking at the door and I've retired. And thankfully, I've got enough money to live on. There are some people with far, far better pensions than us. The European state pension is far better than ours. But yeah, long may it last. And hopefully, you know, the pensions always keep up with inflation, and living over here in Thailand, your pension goes further anyway. So it's like a win-win situation. I've been watching for over 2 hours now. Well done. I've been talking for over 3 hours. Thanks very much. Thanks very much for sticking with me for over 2 hours. Well done. Bob Davis just arrived, been on Swan Beach. Well done. Yeah, my wife is on the beach selling sausages today. On the weekend, that's what she does. She goes and sells sausages, and she gets to chat with other Thai women. And, you know, she's not doing it for the money. You know, she gets enough money living with me. But it's just the fact that I do my videos and my live streams on the weekends. What do I want to do? Just sit on the sofa and do nothing? So she goes and has a talk with her friends over the Saturday and Sunday. She earns a little bit of money doing it. But it's that, you know, we live 24/7 with each other, and it's nice that she can go and chat and put the world to rights with the Thai friends as well, which is good, isn't it? It's like a win-win situation. Yeah, but Swan Beach, I love that beach. It's lovely. I'll be up for joining the group. How do I go about it? Okay, if you have a look at the description on any of my new videos, there's a link to it, Retired and Living the Dream at Pacific Cross Health. So the information's there. So just copy and paste the email address and then email Loic. Loic is one of the Pacific Cross reps that I interviewed. I've got a video on here, and I asked him all sorts of questions that people asked, and he was very good at the answers. And the interview was maybe about 35 minutes, but we talked about many issues and subjects. And Loic can give you a personalized quote as to exactly how much it's going to cost you, if you've got any pre-existing conditions, how that will affect it and not affect it. He's a very, very knowledgeable, interesting guy. So again, that's in the description. And he will be able to give you a one-to-one quote. So thanks very much for asking, and I hope he can sort you out. Alex, Paul from Uden Town. You've been here for 3 weeks now. Can't stop sweating. Really sticky. Anyway, I might be interested in the health insurances. I haven't got round to it. Yeah, again, have a look at the details in the descriptions. Retired and Living the Dream, Pacific Cross Health. Just copy and paste it into and send them an email. You are quite right, Les. I never thought that Ed would get insurance anymore, and he would have to be very foolish to go abroad without it. Yeah. Sadly, I think his traveling days are over. Sadly, I think he's going to end up as an old guy stuck in England and in a lonely little flat, just reminiscing about his days of traveling around and that. And that's why I say do it whilst you can, because that could end up to happening to all of us. Now, I've already said to people about if a similar thing happened to me like that, I'm in a little bit of a different situation because I have my private pension, which is enough to live on. In a couple of years' time, I get my state pension, and that's going to be about 40,000 baht a month. Now, if I was totally like Ed, and I was stuck and I was in a position where I needed constant care, you can hire medical staff here to look after you for 16 hours a day for 20,000 baht a month, a sort of semi-professional nurse. And that's for a month, 20,000 baht a month. I could afford to pay that here, and I could afford to pay to live here where I am and have the home treatment, which would help my wife out as well, because I wouldn't want to put all of that effort onto my wife as well. So she had no help, so I could afford that. And then when I get my state pension, I've got more than enough to pay somebody to do it full time. So my wife doesn't even have to clean me bum or do anything at all like that. I would stay here in England, in Thailand. I would never, ever go back to England for that. Sadly, I think Ed's going to be in that situation where he's going to have to go back to England, and he will get the care and attention there, because I don't think he's got the money to afford to be able to do that over here in Thailand. Ed wasn't my cup of tea, different niche to me, different group of people, but he was 50,000 people's cups of tea because he had 50,000 subscribers, and good luck to the guy. And I hope he makes a full recovery. I hope he gets back to how he was, but I doubt it. But I'll follow Ed. I'll follow him to hopefully, he has a win-win situation. But getting back to England, I think, is top priority now for Ed to get back there. With Pacific Cross, do you need to pay your medical bill and then claim back from them? Also, do you get to choose a hospital? If you make a claim, the first claim, you might have to pay something towards it at first on your first claim. But once you've been at the hospital and they've got your records on details of your records and things like that, then they pay. It's like me, a present. They would pay. And if I had to go to the hospital, they would pay because I've been with them for that long. It's in the first 1 or 2 years that basically people lie on the phone. No, I'm perfect health condition. Then they have a heart attack. Then they're looking for pre-existing conditions and things like that. So they may ask you to pay at the beginning, but this is what Louis can sort out for you. And if they're given permission to look at your health details, then they will pay up first. I think it's a fair system at the end of the day. They're going to insure you, give them the details that they want, and then you'll have no problems with it paying the money. Yes, there are a large number of hospitals that you can go to. And for me, I've told my wife, we have a public hospital here in Rayong that's on the list. And it's far, far cheaper to go to the public hospital than go to the Bangkok Rayong. So I've said to the wife, if ever I have a heart attack, stroke, or anything like that, and I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing, do not send me to the Bangkok Rayong Hospital. Send me to the public hospital. My insurance will go further there. And I've always said that. So yes, you can have your choice of hospitals, but I've only got 700,000 bahts worth of cover, so my cover's going to go a lot further in the public hospital. And for me, a doctor is a doctor, whether he works in the public hospital or whether he works in Bangkok Rayong Hospital. Get the treatment done first. I don't care if I'm in a room with 10 or 20 other Thai people. I'm getting my treatment, and that's all that's important to me. So that's my advice, what I said to people. Is finding work in Thailand relatively easy before I fully retire? I've been looking at jobs, dreaming of living and working in Thailand. No, just forget about working over in Thailand. The bureaucracy is terrible. You can't work if you're on a retired visa. You're not allowed to work at all. Getting a job over here, there are so many jobs that only Thai people can do. If you're a school teacher, the pay is only about 30,000 baht a month, working 5-6 days a week. Pay over here, I don't know why people want to work over here, because you just don't get enough money over here. If you're going to come to Thailand, you need to retire in Thailand. Working, it's just crazy. It's finding so no, I wouldn't even bother looking for a job over here. Scott Green, hi Les, talk very well done from Scott, New Zealand. Thanks very much, Scott. Nearly 3.5 hours, and the questions are still coming in. Unless you can get a work visa, but then again, you know, setting up a business and stuff like that, bureaucracy. No, I would say if you need to work, need to earn some money, it's not time. It's not ready. You're not ready to retire in Thailand. Unless I'm only 15 days into my 90-day visa, went to see a visa agent to get a marriage visa. They said I needed to go back to England to convert my marriage certificate into absolute nonsense. You need to go. So then I needed to go back to England to convert my marriage certificate into Thai. Now you can go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or you can get a translator to translate your marriage certificate into Thai. And then you've got to go and get it ratified by the embassy, maybe it's a Thai embassy, or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Bangkok. They do the ratifying once it's been translated. Yeah, that agents don't like doing marriage visas because they're difficult. That might have been a bit of a fob off. I would have a look at another visa agent. But yeah, if you've got a marriage certificate in English, then you can get it easily translated into Thai. But then you've got to go and get it signed off with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which can take nearly all day to do, because Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Bangkok is very, 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 very busy. But again, you can get agents to do all of that lot as well in Bangkok. If you go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it's just full of agents, and they'll give you the cards, and they can do anything and everything for you. Isla's great channel, and always enjoy your insight. I landed May the 1st and searching for health insurance. A bit confusing at best. Appreciate the contact, Loic. Reach out to him tomorrow. Okay, good for it. He's a whiz. He can do anything and everything. As I say, he's a good guy, and he'll tell you straight how much it's going to be, and what you're covered for and what you can't. And now you can certainly get. If you're under 65, you don't need a medical. If you're over 65, they like you to have a medical, and just be open and honest with them if you've got any pre-existing conditions, because the time to worry about it when you're in hospital, you don't want to be sat, oh, I hope they don't find out about this, and I hope they don't find out about this. That's the wrong time to worry about it. Pay what it is. And Pacific Cross, I've been with them for 10 years, and I've got no problem. There's good stories and there's bad stories, but there's more good than bad. And usually the bad stories, because they've hidden something. and the insurance company have found out, and it takes time to investigate. That's why you have to be open, honest, and upfront. What happened to 2 Kiwis who attacked the police? I have no idea. Fancy lunch tomorrow with Jeff and myself? I can do that, Bob. Yeah, no problem. That sounds good. Monday, no problem. Lunch sounds good to me, yes. So, yeah, just pop around when you're ready. 12 o'clock-ish, something like that. Sounds good. Any references for real estate agents? I'm tired of the condo life, looking for a home like yours in a quiet neighborhood. Yeah, come round and see me. I can. We go around the area, and it costs 2,500 baht a day, and we'll pick it up at 9 o'clock and drop it off at 5, and we'll drive you around Melonpun, we'll drive you around Banpei, we'll drive you around Swanson, we'll drive you around Limay Pim, looking at houses. Our landlady has a number of houses for rent as well, and we'll show you all the options, and then it's up to you. If you see something that you like, my wife will translate and negotiate a deal for you, so you get a good grounding. And it's a full day out, and we'll stop for lunch on the beach somewhere. So we do that service for 2,500 baht. The wife gets the money, not me. I just drive around, and my wife does all the details. It's a little bit of pocket money for her as well, and she enjoys it as well because she can negotiate some good deals. And we've done that for a few people. So if you're looking for a house in this area, send me an email and we can arrange a day. But it'll have to be quick because as I go back to the UK in July, so it'll have to be in the next week or 2 weeks. So yeah, we can show you some houses around here, and from 8,000 up to 18,000, fully furnished, beautiful houses, nice locations. And there's a 2-bedroom house with a communal pool, nice area, but you do need transport. 10,000 baht a month, whether you're there for a month or whether you're there for a year. Easy in, easy out. Pay 1 month's deposit, 10,000 baht a month. Lovely location. If going to Pacific Cross, is there any particular plan they offer? They've got loads of different plans. Again, they've got plans there that if you pay a large, I'm just trying to think of the word. I've lost the words. Excess. If you pay a big excess, then you can get more. You can get a lot more coverage. Like if you have a 40 or 50, you pay the 40 or 50,000 baht excess, then you can go up to 1 million, 2 million. But then you pay the first 40,000. Then after that, you're covered. So that's another way. There's many different ways. You can pay monthly, you can pay quarterly, you can pay 6 monthly, you can pay it all in one go. So as they're talking to Loic, there's many different plans he's got. So you can ask the questions, and do you pay interest? You pay a little bit of interest if you're doing it over maybe 3 or 4 months, something like that, or 6 months. But Loic is the man to ask. He'll give you all of them answers. But Pacific Cross is good. Immigration office in Udon, they provide the process and the requirements in writing. You can ask for the in writing, but it's always going to be in Thai. So you might have to get your wife or somebody to translate it for you. Scott Green, hi. Bob Dave, 12 o'clock. Yeah, Bob, 12 o'clock is fantastic. Thank you very much. Look forward to that. Always look forward to a little bit of lunch at Three Tree Beach. Very nice there. Or wherever you want to go. Up to you. Might have to go to an agency for help. Yeah. Agencies can wave their magic wand. Highlights, what's the best way to get a Thai driving license? If you live in Pattaya, I would say go to MOTS. They do the driver's license, and that's up to 5,000 baht, I think, for a Thai driver's license. And again, an agent. Use an agent. It's speedy. It's quick. I did it myself. I've done everything that I've done myself because I've prided myself on. No, I'm not going to get an agent to do it. I'll do it myself. and it can take up to 2 days to do it yourself. But you also need a person that can speak Thai, because invariably land registry offices or the driving license centres, they don't speak English. So that can be a problem. But the first time I did it, I had nobody at all. Nobody. I did it all on my own near the Regency School in Pattaya. I did the test myself. I did the exam myself. Did all the visual tests and stuff like that. So it can be done. But using an agent, it's done in 1 day. Thanks, Les. I emailed you and schedule an appointment. Okay. Brilliant. Thanks very much. I'll have a look at the emails a little bit later on. Martin, it's easy. Yes, everything is easy here. It's just having the confidence, and, you know, if it goes wrong, that just smile and just don't get aggravated over it and don't get angry with them, because remember, they're trying to speak or trying to communicate with you, and they can't speak English either. So go there with a big smile on your face. Everything can be done. You know, you might get like hush, but just like smile and okay, go with it. And what happens is that when you're in the queue, if you have to go and do something and you sat there in the queue and they shout your name out and you can't understand, somebody will tap you on the shoulder, like, where you go, where you go. Like, oh, okay. They'll sit you down. They'll try to explain to you. And if you do it wrong, somebody will show you what to do. It's quite funny. It's quite funny. But yes, it can be done. But using an agent gets rid of all of that because you have a translator. Even if you have to go and sit your test, there are people there will help you with the tests. They will answer the questions for you, because they'll go in at the test with you and sit right next to you, B, C, A, and tell you what it is. Only in Thailand. But of course, that doesn't happen. Yes, it does. Got a place for sale in Chaiphung province. Martin, visit you, land registration office, and book the test. Yeah, you can do that, but it could take up to 6 months to get a test if you had to go for a test. But if you do it with an agent, you can do it in 2 weeks, and you get all the questions. Every single question that they can ask you, you get all the questions with the answers. So it's just a case of reading through the book, questions and answers. I mean, what place gives you all of that a lot as well? And if you don't feel comfortable at that, like I said, somebody will go in and help you. A, B, C, D, or whatever. That might cost you a little bit extra as well. Talking about marriage, is it easy to get married in Thailand? Paperwork, etc. No, it isn't easy to get married. Again, it's like one of them things. I like to do everything myself. It's like if you Google it, there's loads of information on there, and there's one particular Stickman guide, I think it was, to getting married. I did everything that he did, because to use an agent to get married, it was going to cost me 30,000 baht. And I think, well, I don't want to pay 30,000 baht. And then I found another agent said, we'll do it for 20. And I'm thinking, no, well, I can do all of it. So I did all the paperwork. Me and the wife did all the paperwork. We went down to Bangkok, and basically the only thing we had to do was go to the registry office and get married. And this guy, Stickman guy, said, you don't need any witnesses. You just get 2 of the office staff, give them 500 baht apiece, and they'll be witnesses. And I thought, okay. So we went to a registry office in Bangkok, and the lady says, we need employees' parents who live like 4 hours away. And we said, well, we don't have the parents. They're working. They can't get down here. Could we just use 2 of the witnesses? No, you can't do that. No, we're not going to marry you for that. So then we went to another office, and same thing. The lady says, you need your mum and dad, and we need a translator. So Les, your husband, knows what he's signing, what he's getting into. And she said, well, can't we just use the office staff? No, you can't. So then we rang the village Amper where Ploy lives. And they said, oh yeah, come here. So we went to the village, Amper, and the lady says, no, I can't do it today because this is my last day. I'm moving down to Bangkok, so I'm not doing any weddings today. But when you go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which you've got to do to ratify some of your there's agents in there. So Ploy got a card off one of the agents. We rang the agent up in Bangkok, and she said, yeah, come down tomorrow and you'll be married in within half an hour. Went down there, we paid a 5,000 baht. 30 minutes later, we come out of the registry office married. It was as easy and quick as that. So even I had to use an agent, but it was 5,000 as opposed to 20 and 30,000 baht. So it is difficult to get married. It's not easy to get married. But again, it is what it is. But we just laughed and we smiled about it. And then we went to Bali for a month for our honeymoon. So it was good. I'm in Chai Prempah. I have to get the wife to do the talking for the license. Yeah, but it's not difficult to do, but you do need somebody that can speak Thai to be able to help guide you through the paperwork. Best to go through an agent. There's lots of paperwork and you need to go to the you need to go to the embassy, you need to go to the Ministry of Foreign. There's a lot of running around to do, and you've got to get an affidavit to say that you're free to and single to be married, as does your wife. If she's been married before, she needs an affidavit also, which needs to be verified at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It took us 2 days just to run around Bangkok to do all the paperwork. I did my Thai license in 2 days all by myself, same as me, 2 days in Pattaya. They helped me all the way through. The cost 205 baht, amazing driving standards. Yeah, my motorbike test took all of 2 minutes. 2 minutes. The exam was on the computer, so there's a 3-hour video which you've got to watch as well. And some of the questions that they ask you are on the video. So there's a lot of Thai people who just fell asleep during the video. And when I did my test, there were Spanish, Italians, and Germans, and the test is in English. So if they can't read English, they struggled, and all 3 of them failed. But because I could read English, I passed. But then they just paid a little bit of money and got somebody to help them do the answers. Oh, there you go. I'll put the light on. Here we are now at 6:33, and it's just starting to come a bit dusky. So 3 hours and 41 minutes, and there's still questions, which is good. We got married with no agent. Can't remember it being so. Yeah, as I say, it was just crazy. It was, you need your mum and your dad, and you need a translator. And then we went up to the village, and because we went up to the village, the lady says, no, it's my last day here today. I'm going to Bangkok. So she says, I'm not going to do any. And we had a mum and dad, uncle, we had the head of the village. We all went down there, best bib and tucker type of thing to get married. No. My wife was in tears, and I said, yeah, come on. I said, ring the lady at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Come down tomorrow, we'll be married in 30 minutes. So we went down to Bangkok that night, stayed in the hotel. We got there at 9 o'clock in the morning. By 10 o'clock, we were married. And then once you're married, once you're on a marriage visa, there's lots of paperwork every year to do. I mean, a mountain of paperwork, and you've got to do it in 2 bundles, all exactly the same, because one bundle of paper stays in your immigration office, and then the other bundle of papers goes off to Bangkok and to be stored in a big, massive warehouse somewhere. So the bureaucracy and paperwork in Thailand, there's still all the paperwork, and there's hundreds and hundreds of, you need a photograph of every page in your passport. You need 4 photographs of you around the house. You need witnesses. And then after you've filled out the original paperwork, then you're under a month of consideration. Then the immigration police come and have a look at and check where you're living and check to make sure that you're living here. Then you need another witness to be there when the immigration police come around to make sure you're living at that address. And it can't be the same witness, or it can't be the same person that you fill all the, so it has to be 2 separate people. That was a nightmare, because when they first came round here, they said, we're round your house in 10 minutes. We want you there with the witness. And none of our neighbours were at home. So we had to get the gardener. And she said, I'll be around there in half an hour. So the immigration officer sat around here waiting for half an hour, waiting for the gardener to come, just to say, yes, I know these people. Les, do you think even though being married, it might be easy just to go with the retirement visa? My immigration officer has asked me to change over to the retirement visa. She said, you're in and out of here in 15 minutes on your retirement visa. She said, marriage visa, you sat here for half an hour, 3/4 of an hour. But, and this is a big but, this is where I look upon it, right? It has been 800,000 baht in the bank account for 15 years, 14, 15 years. They will change that one day. I'm sure they will change it. And there's been talk of making it to 1.2 million. If they make it to 1.2 million, how many people on retirement visa will not be able to put that in the bank? Or even, 85, 90,000 baht a month coming in as an income on a marriage visa, because you're sort of grandfathered in. And if you're on a retirement visa now, they're talking about being grandfathered in. It will always stay at that result. Being married, I only have to show 40,000 baht a month. So if they up that to 800,000 baht a month, 800,000 for being married on the marriage visa and 65,000, then I can afford that. But I couldn't afford like the 85, 90,000 baht a month coming in. So sort of swings and roundabouts. It has its advantage. You can also get a work permit easier on a marriage visa. You're allowed to do some work in your house because it's your house, it's where you're living. Whereas if you're on a retirement visa, if you're painting the house, it'd be classed as working. And if you're doing the garden, it could be classed as working. It depends where you're living, type of thing. But if you're married, it's much easier with a marriage visa and I think you've got a few more rights because you're married to a Thai person. It's like when you go in and out of the airport, you can come in with your wife, a Thai person, go through the Thai immigration counter and send waiting in with the hundreds and hundreds of other people getting off the plane. So it has its advantages and, disadvantages. But I will always be on the marriage visa. Had a proper wedding ceremony at home, then had to go to Bangkok to sort all the paperwork out. Now, we just got married at the registry office. That was it. It's my 4th wedding, so I've had a lot of wedding cake. She wasn't bothered about having a big ceremony, with the white dress and the. She was happy because we went to Bali for a month. That was why spend all of this money for everybody else have a good party when it was me and her. She was happy with that. And we went to Bali for a month and we came back home after 3 weeks because Thailand was much nicer than living in Bali for a month. So yeah, the best wedding that I ever had was in Fiji. That was fantastic. All the other ones were registry offices, and a registry office is just like so uneventful, if you like. But I hated thinking of paying for all of these other people at a wedding do that you hardly know. Anyway, some people spend hundreds of thousands on a wedding do. We didn't. We just registry office, a nice hotel in Bangkok, and then we flew to Bali the following day. Last time we went to get marriage visa, they just ignored the photos and paperwork and gave me a retirement visa. All right. Cut out the middleman, use a visa agent. Why use a visa agent when you can do it yourself? Cut out the visa agent, you'll save a fortune. We were married at the Thai embassy in Australia, so all our documents were registered in Thailand in English, made a marriage visa easier. Yeah, but they have to be in Thai and in English. Getting a retirement visa is hard as long as you make the requirement. Yeah. Well, you can even get the visa without meeting the requirements. There's ways and means of getting it all legal and above board as well. But Some people don't spend 65,000 baht a month, but you can still get a retirement visa even if you don't spend that amount of money every month. If your wife leaves you and divorces you, instantly your marriage visa expires and you're stuck in between a rock and a hard place. Retirement visa all the way. Yeah, exactly. But again, if I got divorced, or she left me, whatever, then I can just transfer it over to a retirement visa. That's no problem at all doing that. Because if you're getting divorced, you've got to have some type of visa. So you can, so within the immigration, you can do that, because all you have to do, they'll extend the period of time. So then you just change over to an O visa, and then you put the 65,000 baht into a bank account for 2 months. That shows you've got the income method, and then you transfer it over to a retirement visa. No sweating, nothing too complicated about that, is there? Les, if you're married 100%, Les, if you're married 100%, do the marriage visa. Retirement visa works for singles. However, as you say, at the mercy of the government, Thai government. Nobody knows. You know, there's lots of good points and lots of bad points. Being married has its advantages. Being on a retirement visa has its advantages. It's whatever suits, wherever floats your boat as well. I'm happy with the retirement visa, because even now I still don't live on 65,000 baht a month, so I don't cover the criteria for living on a retirement visa, because I never draw over 65,000. So in reality, I don't qualify with the retirement visa, and I certainly don't have 800,000 baht in the bank. So marriage visa suits me, so I don't have to put 65,000 in the bank. What month is fireworks? Guy Fox. This might be a daft question, but does it get dark at this time all year? Don't remember long eve. No, it doesn't. It gets dark between 6 and 7. This is like the summer period. So now, what time is it now? 6:43, and it's dusk now, really. And the earliest to get dark in winter is about 6 o'clock. So it's gone 6:30, 6:45 now, and it's dusk. Because we live near the equator, it's sort of 12 and 12. That's the one of the things that I missed about the UK, is it getting dark at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the evening, which is lovely, and light at 6 o'clock in the morning. Here it's light at 6, it gets dark at 6. So it's that 12-hour window, but you can sit outside here, you know, which is good. Okay, there's a few little mosquitoes nibbling around now because it's dusk. Dusk and dawn are the worst time for mosquitoes, but it's warm, so you can still sit outside here, no problem. Yeah, no, so it's not a daft question. It gets dark here between 6 and 7 o'clock, 6:45 now, and if I turn the light out, that's how dark it is. But you get used to it. But that's one thing I'm looking forward to in July when I go back. It's going to be light until about 9:30 on the evening, which is very nice. So you can sit outside with your fleece on and have a beer or a glass of wine outside. I'm married to my wife. A bit of a time visa, much more easier. But on a, yeah, it's much. You're in and out in 15 minutes, which is good. Far less paperwork. And like my immigration officer keeps asking me to go on a retirement visa. I said, no, I'm on a marriage visa. I said, I don't have 65,000 baht a month. There's always a risk of them clamping down on the agents getting visa without meeting the requirements. I wish I had £1 every time I've heard that. I'd be a wealthy man. I wouldn't have to do YouTube, that's for sure. There are more agents now than there was when I came here 12 years ago. More agents now. And I've heard this, are they going to clamp down on the agents? No, they're not. They're never, ever going to agents they'll never ever be clamped down on, because the tea money situation is rife over here. And the tea money is a big thing over here. And whilst the tea money is being paid, the agents will still be there. And like I said, there's more agents now than there was 12 years ago. More people doing it for agents. Agents will never, ever go out of here. And there are ways and means of meeting the requirements that are legal and above board that I suggest, because I would never suggest anything illegal to anybody to do. And some of my suggestions and ways of doing it are actually more legal than using an agent, and it doesn't cost you anywhere near the same price as using an agent. And it's legal and above board and 100% legal. So there are many ways to skin a cat living over here in Thailand, legal ways to do it as well. Are there lots of mozzies where you are? Unfortunately, they're like me, and I get bit a lot of, for some reason. Yeah, this time of night, there's a lot of mosquitoes, but thankfully, they don't particularly like me. They like my wife more than they like me. So sometimes we go, especially Koh Chang, my wife always gets bitten. Maybe it's the sandflies in Koh Chang as opposed to here. But my wife certainly gets bit more times than me. I can feel them nibbling around now, especially my ankles and stuff like that. But when all's said and done, it's not too bad. But usually I'm not sat out this time of night, because I'll go in, and it's only like an hour, 2 hours maximum at dusk and dawn that the mosquitoes are busy and they're about, because the rest of the day it's too hot and they're not flying about, so you're okay. But dawn and dusk, we usually go in, and if we come out with some friends and that, and we have some drinks here on the sofas, then we'll come out. It's now 7:15, maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock time, and then we're okay until whenever. So yeah, mosquitoes, but you get mosquitoes everywhere in the world, don't you? Sitting outside, nice breeze, cats and dogs having a play. Hopefully tires them out. Yeah, they're a little bit more frisky, the dogs, this time of night now, because it's cooler. You might hear some of the dogs around here now, because they'll bark at a couple of motorbikes if they're going around this time of night, because it's a lot cooler for them to bark and run after them. Is it possible to keep money in Wise, like use a recycling method and just put the extra you don't need back into there? I don't know whether you can transfer it back to Wise from Thailand. That's why I suggest D-Money. D-Money can send it back to your home country bank, and then you can just transfer it back again to Wise. I don't think you can do that. I don't know, but might be worthwhile asking them. They might have changed the rules now, whereas before the only bank that does it is D-Money. I've not found another bank that will transfer Thai money back to your home country money. Yeah, I guess a good fan would help sitting outside on the evening. Yeah, it would do. It blows them away, or keeps them at bay a little bit, something. You might see them flying around, but yeah, they don't really bother me much. But just had a scare big dog away. Okay, well, yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, we're coming up to 3 hours and this is a record now. This is almost 4 hours. 2 more minutes and it's been 4 hours. Wow. Gone by like that. So thanks very much, everybody, for joining in this. I'm going to call that an end, because my wife will be home very shortly. It's the time of night she'll be, and I'll have to help her unpack everything. In fact, I think this is maybe her. Yes, it is. Here she is now. So yeah, anyway, it's time for me to go. So thank you very much for everybody who joined in the conversation. It's been another record-breaking one, almost 4 hours now. Thanks very much for the questions. Always a pleasure being on here. thank you very much for everybody that's participated and joined in. And I hope I've answered many, many questions. So from Les, Retired and Living the Dream, until the next video, bye for now.